What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another episode of Bodybuilding University. Today, I'm joined by Baidi. Go check out his podcast as well. Put up the links to all that in the description below. And IFB 212 Pro, Aaron Pilates, who's in his prep for the New York Pro. Quickly, before we get back into what we were discussing before the podcast, Aaron, what's happening, man, in terms of the prep? Like, how's it all going?
Oh, a bit of a roller coaster the last week, as you know. Some shit in my personal life, but other than that, yeah, it's been. I've had an eventful year, man. To be honest, like losing my social media was a massive hit. Obviously, to any pro bodybuilder, losing a social media account with 100K followers or so is a kick in the guts, you know. Then I lost like one of my main sponsors, which could be repercussions of that. So that was a bit of a shit start to the prep, and then but you know what? I got it back a week ago after 4 months. Body fat's been coming off really easy, man. I've only ever done 30 minutes cardio the whole prep. It's actually like almost feels too easy. Like I keep telling Patrick, "Are you sure you don't want to put the foot down?" So a few people were saying to me, "Oh, this prep, be aware. You're 4 years older now. Your body fat your metabolism might be slower." But I feel like my metabolism's faster than it's ever been because
you got more muscle now too, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. Like Olympia prep, we started with an hour step mill straight off the start, and then 45 minutes. I haven't touched a step mill once, and I just do a 30-minute brisk walk every morning. So it seems pretty easy at the moment. So always 8 weeks out, but I'm just waiting for it to get hard at the moment.
Yeah, it's always the way. It's always going to drop at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna get. I'm sure it'll get hard real quick, but by then it's probably going to only be 6 weeks to the show. So it feels like, and it was also the shortest prep I've ever done. Usually my preps are 20 weeks. This has only been 14. We started it on the diet. So,
is this new?
Yeah, that was a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah. You're in shape already.
Yeah. So
this one.
Yeah.
This one new?
That's like 2 days before that. Yeah, that's like maybe 4 days old. I said 3 days ago. Yeah.
Do you stay lean off season?
Yeah. Well, that one. This video now is pretty much off season. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I always have abs. Like I don't have the appetite, bro, to get real fat. To be honest, you know, I don't have that crazy appetite. I don't really eat too much takeout or fast food, so I don't have the ability to get like too fat. You know.
Baidi, Aaron's someone who gets considerably more impressive as he preps as well. So the starting point, like it always looks so much more impressive at the end. But this one was from backstage at the Olympia, hey, when you got 9th, I think it was.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
That was the Kamal one.
You're so right though, bro. Because I remember Olympia prep, I didn't want to send Patrick a check-in for the first 6 weeks of prep because I hated how I looked so bad, and I know that, like what you say, for some weird reason in my body, the closer I get to the show, the better it looks. And then it's like a whole different looking physique when I'm like at the end than when I start. And then I just refused. I remember because we'd done 3 preps together. I was like, don't worry, we're on track. And I wouldn't send him a photo for 6 weeks. And then we got to like 14 weeks out, and I was like, and he's like, come on, man, I need a photo. And I was like, all right, you can have one now. I bet I was so off it. It's just the way it looks. Because some guys manage to look good in like off seasons, and everyone's different. Do you know what I mean? Some guys look better in off season than they do on stage.
I agree.
It's like you lose your chest, man. You lose your chest in your off season.
I'm not like that. I look better on stage, which I prefer to be better on stage. But I look better on stage, and like off season, I just look shit, I reckon. You know? So
worst chest in the IFB in your off season.
Yeah, it's because I had a conversation with my mate. I trained with him the other day, Sam Gardner. He's short too. And when we get like chubby and thick, all the chubbiness around the torso, because I've got a short torso, sort of spreads, and then you sort of can't see the chest, doesn't like poke out, you know? And it makes your chest look really small. Looks like you don't really. And then when I get leaner, it looks more freakier. So maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, everyone's different, I guess.
Baidi, you started your prep yet for USAs?
No, I'm 20 weeks out as of Saturday. I stayed a bit leaner than usual, so I'm gonna start in about 2 weeks, about 18 weeks out. You know,
very nice.
Usually I usually do about 20 weeks, but I don't think that's necessary. I feel like I just have to dig Either way, no matter how close or far I started, it's just a matter of really digging deep. My body fat, just is really stubborn. So I just have to just suffer, man. There's no way around it. You got to suffer and suffer until I'm shredded.
So you understand Samson Dauda pretty much, who we're pretty much going to be talking about now, and we discussed him before the podcast.
Yeah, I think what it is, a lot of people they compare themselves. They can you can only go by your own experiences, I guess. But I think we have to be more open minded to understand that it's different for people. This is not to justify the amateur guy that's just lazy, but I think people say, well, you just suffer like I suffer, and they don't realize that what you consider suffering is somebody else's high day. You know, most people's low day is like double the calories of my high day. You know what I'm saying? But it's like just all you gotta do is more cardio and suffer more. Like, don't you think we know this already? Do you think Samson is not aware of this, or Akeem?
Yeah, of course he
Everybody
does.
knows this. Yeah, their suffering is just that their bodies are just not that simple. You get some people, you could put them with any coach, they'll be shredded in 12 weeks, no problem. And then you get other people, you see them go from coach to coach, and they're suffering. Trust me, they're suffering, but they just don't get that look. It doesn't mean that you can't get that look, but the level that you have to push yourself to get there is pretty fucking rough. And you can't do it every single show. You almost have to take your time and choose wisely and make sure you peak properly and you're in the right headspace so you're not losing your head. So
There's other factors. Xavier, did you see Dean McKillop's little podcast? I think he did the other day. I think he put up as a reel when he discussed this subject about how people look at certain body fats and stuff like that.
I didn't say it.
He mentioned it was so true. He mentioned it's not just obviously people get leaner than others. That's factor number one, right? Like me, my body fat just comes off without trying. So I got like maybe it's fast metabolism or whatever. And then there's also skin texture and like elasticity of the skin and the see-throughness of the skin. Some people have a thicker looking skin, and so if you're both 10% body fat, the guy with the thicker skin might look 12%. And the guy with the other guy with it's got 10% looks like 8% because his skin's so thin. Like skin texture plays a part as well. Don't you agree? Like same when you do meals, and you caliper test people's bodies. Just because you're both 40 mils doesn't mean that you're both going to look the same. Some guys have the see-through skin, that graininess, and they naturally look leaner. Where maybe some people like Samson has a thicker skin. He might be. He's obviously killing himself, bro. Like, there's no. People act like he's not. People act like he's eating donuts or something every week. Like he's making bank for these shows, bro. We're talking like 100K, 200K more prize money. I'm pretty sure he'd be dieting his ass off, but he might have that thicker skin. Like that just might be his body's peak look in regards of condition. Like we will only ever know, like I said, if someone like Honey Rambo took him on, or who was probably the number one coach in the world. But I don't think we'll ever see it because I reckon he would know that it's more difficult than all the fans online make it sound so easy. Oh, just bump your cardio up a little bit, or it's so funny how they simplify it like as if they don't know what they're doing.
It's actually funny he brought that up. It's funny you bring that up because I've done that with one of my clients. I coach as well. One of my clients, he gets shredded. I mean, peeled inside out. White guy, but he has that real tight skin look. We both get a DEXA scan, and the in-body thing when they do the not in-body, they call it DEXA scan. When you lay down, they have the thing go past.
Yeah, the DEXA is the legit one. Yeah.
Yeah, I came back 5.4%. This is like 2-3 weeks out. He comes back 6.4, I believe. This guy was shredded to the glutes. Everything was crazy striated. And if you would have looked at me, I looked like I was like 5-6 weeks out. So it's like it's not even a body fat issue. It's like an appearance sometimes. You could actually be lean body fat wise and not appear lean. So for me to look like him, shit, I have to be what, 4%? I don't know.
Exactly right. That's my point. Some people just look. It's just a skin texture thing. So it's hard. Yeah. But like obviously there's pros and cons. There's other factors like Samson has amazing muscle bellies and beautiful shape. But
exactly.
How hard is it? I guess it makes you appreciate people like Phil Heath, man. Like because he had amazing shape, amazing muscle bellies, amazing size, and he managed to get the graininess condition too. Like it just adds to me. And one comment, it just adds another layer of how freaky they were because they also possessed the thin skin or thin enough to look that freaky. Like remember Phil Heath's rear shot when Xavier, you know the one I'm talking about, when he's doing flexing the glutes and the hamstrings, and they were like
Crazy.
they were like guitar strings on the hamstrings. He was so dry and shredded. I can't remember what year it was, but
well, he had that.
Sure.
That was the year, I think, the year he lost or the year before he lost. That's when I saw that photo of that, and it was like
disgusting.
crazy.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's me watching it on the. I couldn't imagine what it would look like in real life. I wasn't there in real life, so that just goes to show you that as good as Samson is, and that Samson's amazing. Like them boys must have had another layer of freakiness to have that ability. You know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as well, with that, like people have thick or thin skin. You think about older people, like my nan, she had the thinnest skin when she was older. And like if she fell over or something or whatever, she would cut herself so easily, my skin would just like burst, you know? So, and we say like people get more mature and they get that graininess as they get older. I wonder if it's just our like skin thinning as we get older in general.
What about Dexter? Like Dexter openly says that he never has to diet very hard, you know, and he's grainy and hard and peeled easy. Like, here's another freak.
You keep getting that thumbs up, Aaron.
Yeah, thumbs up.
It's
like when you do this, a thumbs up appears.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
it's not now.
They're doing it.
What is that?
I don't know why. I was wondering what the hell that was because I was watching a podcast and I saw it popping up. It doesn't work when you want it to. But I was like, what is that? I thought it was something on my screen. I'm clicking it. And I'm like, I don't know why Zoom does that.
I thought you were clicking on my video or something.
Like I was liking it as you were talking.
Yeah.
It looks like that.
Good point, Aaron.
No, you brought up Dexter too, and this is another side of it that I guess people don't necessarily maybe want to talk about. But I know a handful of pros who don't run like a lot of growth, a lot of insulin, things like that, and they seem to have like a thinner, tighter look to the skin versus the people that just some I've kind of noticed that really push like the high growth and stuff. They never get the crazy separated, harder look, you know. That I think that could play part. I mean, even myself, there's pictures of me at 23 that I'm not in shape. My glutes are fat, but you look at some of my chest and arms kind of had this crazy separation that I don't see it now, even when I'm leaner, actually. So, obviously throughout the years, I've taken more growth and things like that, or whatever the case. So that could be
definitely insulin too, because depends how clean they are in the off season with the insulin too, like with the diets, like whether they're putting visceral fat on or whatever, you know. But insulin can definitely blur a physique for sure.
Yeah.
I always think that sometimes when guys use insulin really young as well, I think that the muscle doesn't have that time to mature. But when someone that is like a seasoned pro starts using insulin, it doesn't seem to affect the lines and how shredded they look in general. But when someone young uses it from being young, they never seem to get those deep lines like through the chest. And like you see Wesley Visses, like you saw his delts, they were so inside out, shredded and grainy. It's like, and he's always sort of, I think it's almost like widely known he just doesn't use a huge amount of stuff, you know, and it sort of shows because he's not, there's no body parts that don't look peeled. So
his condition was amazing.
Oh, incredible, man.
Incredible. I think people who use less gear in general or less compounds, gear, GH, whatever you want to call it, I think they have like a more crisp look. You know, you see it. Not to say classic guys take less in general. I'm not saying that, but you see some of the classic guys, they kind of have some more separation and detail. That could be just being a lighter body weight as well, you know. But it could also be both, being lighter body weight and maybe not pushing the gear, you know, or the subs in general as much. But who knows?
And the constant push for size as well in like the open class. Guys don't have time to refine their physique, but we've seen in like the 212 and the classic where they're weight restricted, guys tend to refine their physique and come in more shredded. Like 212 is known as being a more shredded class. Like Aaron, you're a guy that comes in freaking peeled. You see, obviously, the guys, Keon's sort of the like he's the exception to the rule because he's got that really classic physique. But you looking classic, man. That the conditioning of those guys, like people were like Urs was off at the Arnold. The dude still has completely cross-striated quads. He has completely cross-striated glutes, shredded everywhere. It's just that these other guys had a little bit more pop and were just as shredded. So people were like, Urs is off, he wasn't off. Just these other guys nailed it.
Uris's off condition would be like someone's best ever condition in the opens. Like some guys that are very well known. I won't say in certain names that those guys in that middle pack like Olympia would kill for Uris's condition. So yeah, 100% I get. But I think sometimes you just can't have the best of both worlds. And then the ones that do have the best of the both worlds, they're in the top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so they're the guys like Nick and Derek and Huddy who somehow are massive but can still get the grainy hardness somehow. You know, it's that just like I said, it just adds that other layer of how rare the physique is. So many factors, you know.
That's true.
But we were going
How did we get to that topic?
I don't know. I think I asked about Samson or something, and then it just went down a rabbit hole. We was talking about skin thickness. Yeah, that's right. So what I was actually going to transition into, but we went down like a rabbit hole for 15 minutes. But I was going to talk about Samson because Samson and Milos and obviously the coaching situation. And I thought we were done with it. And I actually made a video, the last video I made talking it all about it. Someone said in the comments like, oh, I'm over talking about this. And I said, oh, this will be the last video that's made unless they talk more about it. Milos has been on the Menace podcast, and essentially there's a few things said as well. And I left sort of feeling bad for Milos, and I don't think he's playing the victim or anything like that, but he did speak about it and said that he was like family with like Mel and Samson, and he didn't get a call. He got a text to sort of let him know. And he didn't even know anything was a problem when Samson made that video saying he's going to go to the hospital. He feels like, you know, his body's failing and all that. So, Baidi, what's your thoughts? You've seen the podcast, the Menace podcast this morning. I think it was released or whatever time it was in the US. What do you think?
Man, this whole situation, there's so much holes in it that it makes it weird because these are two of the most liked people in the industry, Samson and Milos. Everybody loves them. Even me, you know, I love them. So it's just that I understand when you're in that place, when you're in that real dark place, when you're really suffering, your emotions are all over the place, right? So I think Samson maybe is saying things that are a little out of character for Samson because we never heard him really talk like that. We shouldn't hold it against him because I just think he was in a really dark place. He's sick. He's been suffering for God knows who long, God knows how long, and he's just tired and emotional. What I will say is I think at that point you want to try to keep it off of social media and have these conversations with your team, your wife and your coach and your submit before you take to the internet, because then things kind of go out of control, right? So now imagine Milos hearing this for the first time, like, wait, what? His body is failing. And it's like, you would think the first person you would hit up would be your coach, right? Hey, Milos, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like shit. But Milos never got that call to even know how he could help him, right? So then things kind of spiral. Now it's like Samson, he's going to go back to the internet to try to retract that. No, I'm not in kidney failure. But what else would people think if you leave it open-ended? Like, hey, guys, my body's failing. Of course, people are going to, start thinking all kinds of stuff because he looked emotional and distraught. So that's just human nature. So you can't say like, hey, don't listen to what people are saying because people are going off of your video that you made when maybe you were at a heightened emotional state. So I just think it kind of went the wrong way. I think this is a conversation they should have had within each other and maybe make separate posts like, hey, I love this guy. Milos took me from this to a champion. I give him nothing but love. But moving forward, I'm going to work with Marlenka. I think Milos deserves that level of respect for what he's done with Samson. I mean, like I said, I'm sure Samson at some point is going to have that convo when the nerves and emotions come down. So I just don't want Milos to look like a bad guy. And Milos did nothing but treat this guy like family and bring him to the top of the sport. So I don't know.
Did James, not to change subject, but did James make a video or do what you said with Milos? Like, did he ring Milos and did he move on in a better manner, or how did they, or was it the same situation? Does anyone know that?
Well, James essentially around 2 weeks out or at some stage in the prep, he said he decided to do a refeed, and then Milos, I think, was like, well, do you really still want my help? Like you're deciding to do things without sort of me advising. And then James decided from 2 weeks out to do it himself. So they had talked about it, but I think it was very much in a way of James saying what he did and Milos being like, I'm a coach. Why am I finding out about it afterwards? Sort of thing. That's how I would be as a coach for sure. And then they went their own way. And James has done some interviews saying, "Oh, I pretty much did it myself," and things like that. So I think, yeah, I don't know. As a coach,
sounds like a similar setup. Sounds like a similar thing. You know, which means he probably hasn't really done it. There's a bit of a grey area as well. I think you got to be straightforward with them, you know, and say
you have to
because you can't go after. Oh, I practically did it myself. Like, imagine hearing that as a coach going, "What do you mean you weren't like you say you weren't even following? Because you're wasting everyone's time."
That's how I feel. It's like because
they're putting off a difficult. I get it. Like they're both putting off a difficult conversation. You know, there's a lot of guesswork, but yeah, like it's so much. You're not thinking clearly the last 2 weeks anyway. What I think you should do is just do what they say for the show. Forget about that. There's a million other shows to do. Do exactly what they say and then reassess it after the show.
Yeah.
You know, because how can you give a coach a fair go if you took the reins off them 2 weeks out? You're never really going to know who was going to be right. So was James happy with that showing, or should he have let Milos finish the job and then said, "Yeah, you know what, I didn't like that look. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. I learned some new things. I'm going to go try something else." That would have been a better approach.
Yeah. Like what's the point of all of this, right? Imagine, okay, yeah, I'm working with this. This is my coach now. This is my coach. And putting all this pressure on this coach to bring you in dialed. And time again, it's like, oh, Milos couldn't get the job done. But it's like Milos doesn't even have control. If he doesn't have control, he's like, if I want you to eat white fish, but you're like, nah, I don't eat white fish. Well, what can I do about that, right? Or, I want you to do more than an hour cardio. Nah, I'm not gonna do. Well, what can you do? So if we're finding out that Milos's clients are following 80% or 50% of what he's saying, then how can he be blamed when they're not coming? Is it because we'll sit here and say, yeah, this insulin protocol is these guys can't come in shape, but if they're not even following it, we don't know. But maybe they would come in peeled if they actually listen to Milos, but they're not.
And then there's the argument: what are they doing at home that we don't know? You know what
exactly.
I mean? Because you'll never know, bro. You'll never know. There may be secrets that both of them have kept from everyone.
Yeah, and
that's what it sounds.
They also said Milos said that he's doing an hour of cardio, and then Dennis says, "Well, maybe he should do 2 hours," and then Milos just goes, and these kind of things. And then he just sort of moves on to the next thing. And I'm like, and from what I've heard on other things, and Milos saying previously on an episode saying, Samson, I hope he suffers. I hope he listens. And so it sounds as though Milos wanted him to do more cardio or to push things harder. And Samson was resistant to it on some level, or maybe just didn't do it. And that's just how it comes out. And that's what it sounds like. So for us to say Milos couldn't get Samson in condition, I think we need to put that on the back burner for now, because if we don't know the situation exactly for word, and we've only heard really Milos's side since this thing happened, and who knows, like, I'm not saying this would happen because I don't think this is Milos at all, because Milos, from all the stories I've heard, he's up at like 3 a.m. typing out clients' diets and all that sort of stuff. But, if he wasn't contacting James back or whatever, and James might have been like, oh, well, I'm just going to do my own thing. That could have been a situation. You just have no idea. So to implicate anyone like James, Samson, or Milos completely, so we can't really do that. But at the same time, we're saying if this is the situation, then that's, I feel bad for Milos, to be honest.
There's also so much pressure. There's also so much pressure on especially those two athletes. I feel like they're some of the two highest pressured athletes, because so many people want Samson to be Mr. Olympia or the Arnold Classic champion, again. But so there's so much pressure, like, in that respect, and they're probably just fucking. You would feel the pressure, bro. I felt pressure even being the only Aussie like doing a show, right? I can't imagine the pressure that Samson feels. And then there's and James too. Like, James knows. You can see James has breakdowns over the amount of pressure on his shoulders because he's so annoyed. James is always frustrated that he's not bringing the best James ever. You can see the frustration. He talks about it. You can see it on his face. Like, that would eat you. That would build up, and you'd have anxiety from that alone. Do you know what I mean? You can't have that amount of pressure. It's not healthy.
This is also why you shouldn't coach yourself, because there's too much emotions, too much frustrations that's going to make you make the wrong choices, right? So since James worked with Patrick Tour, he's been kind of on this thing that I want to learn how to coach myself, right? And then he has people like trained by JP, Jordan Peters, kind of help him a little bit, but not really coach him. And then now Milos help him a little bit, but not really coach him. My thing is that if you're gonna say, oh, every time I get flat, I get nervous, and then I have like a refeed, right? This sport has nothing to do with emotions and nerves. It's only how you look. So that should tell you if you're getting if you're having refeeds out of emotion and trauma, you should not be coaching yourself. You want an unbiased, objective opinion to tell you, no, 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 we're not doing a burger right now. You have to wait because that's the whole point of a coach. It's not because we don't know how to diet. We all know how to diet, but you're not you when you're dieting. So that's more reason why you need a coach. I just don't get the self coach and then kind of be disappointed. But then now your kind of coach gets blamed. It doesn't make sense. Like either you might as well just do it all yourself and just be like, fuck it, I don't care if I win or lose. I'm just gonna do it, or follow the coach. The limbo thing, it just doesn't. There's no good ending to that. It doesn't make sense, actually.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
because you're never fully committing to one or the other.
No.
You need to fully commit to each coach, cross it off, do that method 100%, assess it, move on to the next one. Fully commit, do it, move on to the next one until you find the method. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can say, I fully committed to Milos. I did every single thing he said. That wasn't my best look. Then you go to the next coach, Patrick. I did everything he said. I was too flat. Okay, next one. I just tick every protocol off. Do the 2 hours cardio. Do that. Get Dennis James to prep you. Do that, and then say, "Fuck, I've tried everything. What is there left? What is it? What else is there to try?" But like you say, if you sit in between, in the middle, and do a little bit of their shit, refeed yourself. Don't do cardio. You're never gonna. It's like it's too random, man.
Yeah.
This is why this is coming from somebody who I've coached myself for the last, I don't know, probably 3-4 years, maybe. I don't know, but I'm gonna work with Compton this prep because it's like this. There's too much emotions involved, right? The judges say, come in 10 pounds lighter, you win. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna come in 15 pounds lighter. They'll never tell me I'm not shredded again. And now you're flat as shit, you know?
Yeah. I was
So
gonna
it's
say
like all
that's
of
the
this
recipe
emotion.
to fucking up. You go too far.
Yeah. Or you're flat. Now, okay, I'm gonna show them full. Now come in. There's too much emotions, bro. Like, and this shit gets more emotional the closer you get. So all you need is follow that coach. As long as the coach knows what he's doing, he's gonna steer you right because the emotions aren't as strong for him. That's why I don't believe in self-coaching, honestly. Some people can do it. I still don't believe in. I mean, Compton will tell you himself. Compton was one of the best in the world coaching himself. But guess what? He'll tell you that if he had a coach, he probably would have looked better because it takes out that bias.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
if you fully commit to said coach and you're not far off, then you can refine it. Then you're close. Do you know what I mean? Like you can. That's what I'm saying. I say he fully committed to Milos and he was the best ever Samson, right? But he was just not far off. Then can't you just stick with that and just refine it a little bit? Because if you're close enough, you can refine it. You don't need to change coaches if you're 3% off.
I agree. You could just work with the
You know what
same
I mean?
guy and learn.
Because Patrick and I did that. Like my first show was New Zealand. Even though I won, I felt like I could have been fuller. And then we refined it a little bit for Indie Pro 2 weeks later. And even though I was second, but I was a better look. And just little refinements. There's no point dumping. Oh, see you later. So yeah, because it's hard to learn a body also in a very fast, short period of time too. It takes some shows.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Sure. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Cool. It just when I said internet connection is unstable, so hopefully it's all good.
I feel like prepping Hardy would be the easiest. I swear Hardy's physique, he's just got the gift of gab, man. I reckon any coach could coach Hardy. I'm not taking away from Hardy Robot. I'm not taking away from him at all. But Hardy has that genetics that anyone could coach him. He's just always going to be. He's off. He's going to be like more shredded than 95% of the whole lineup.
Yeah,
He's like Beirut.
He's always. Yeah, same with Beirut. If you look at Heidi's old pictures, he's always been shredded. Like I don't know if he even had a coach back then, but he was shredded long time ago.
Even off season, he's pretty shredded.
Yeah, he is actually.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Let's get on to the Arnold Classic UK and discuss a bit about that. I'll pull up some video of it in just a second of the top two.
Would have been good to have a few more people in that lineup, though, I must admit. Like, I would like to see 10. Huh?
Yeah, at least
I
10.
should have invited him. Yeah.
To me, I think this is from a pre-judging. I'm not 100% sure. This is obviously Gilco footage as well. I'll bring up the other footage if I can, if my internet will actually take it. But what do you guys think just seeing this footage here? Because I think close up, when I saw this, I was like, I got not necessarily this footage, but one of Samson. I was like, you can see his hamstrings are in. Like, he looks considerably better than he did 2 weeks prior. So, Baidi, what did you think? Did you think Samson, was challenging? Because on the scorecards, it wasn't straight first for Hardy. It was 9-6 at pre-judging and at finals. So that means at least 2 judges, depending how many judges they had Samson winning. So what did you think of that?
If I'm being completely objective, I want to say it looked like Samson closed the gap a bit, but I think that's more so because Hadi got there a day before the show. I heard people say Hadi's off. I'm not gonna call the most shredded guy in the lineup off personally. I'm just gonna say he wasn't as good as the Arnold, Ohio or Vancouver. It's not his all-time best, but does that mean Phil Heath is off because he doesn't look like 2011? No, it just means he's not his best ever. So he's not obviously not his best ever, but I don't think he missed. I don't think they missed. I just think maybe they were harder before. So I think the gap closed a little bit because Hadi wasn't as good as Ohio, and Samson was definitely a bit tighter. But if I'm being completely honest, I still don't think it was that close. Samson's midsection has been looking a little bit off compared to before, and then Hadi's midsection is perfect. It actually got better. His waist looks smaller. The vacuum makes it look more accentuated. I think at this point, I still think he's beating him on almost every pose. Just the margin of each pose is smaller, but I still believe he pretty much had him on almost every pose. Personally.
Yeah, I had it. I think I judged it 2 poses, like near tie. 2 poses, I think I had Samson winning, and then 4 poses I had Hardy. And man, I was being told that I am so biased. I'm always so biased towards Samson, all this sort of stuff. I'm like, well, at least 2 judges had Samson straight up winning the whole contest. So I don't know if I can be that biased when you've got at least 2 judges having him win it. Aaron, what do you think? Do you think that Samson was at all a challenger here? Do you think that he won some poses?
Look, I agree that when they first walked out, that my first initial thought was, oh, Samson's closed the gap a little bit.
Because look at his hammies there. They're pretty good.
He definitely closed the gap a little bit. We know what lets him down the most, bro? It's the thick, that's what I mentioned before. It's the thick skin on the glutes. Because I'm not saying Samson probably is lean enough. Like, he probably is lean enough, but he doesn't, if you look at the glutes, he's never going to get that. I don't think he's ever going to get that grainy, striated ass. And then it just makes Hadi's rear shots like so freaky with the striated glutes and they're always so on. He definitely wasn't as hard as Ohio, but like fucking Hadi's not on. He's still so shredded. It's just at it. Like those side shots where how he hit with the serratus, man, it's just it's freaky. And so like I sort of agree. Like he closed the gap a little bit, but it was still look, it still surprised me because he said he was thick. I thought it would be worse than ever. I thought Hadi would come in and just wipe the floor. But when he came out, I thought, how was he thick? And then he actually looks better.
Yeah.
So it was the best Samson. I agree. He's just got to keep. I guess he's just got to keep working at it. You definitely can't wait for the day that Hardy's off because he's never going to be off enough. For you to beat him, like he's going to have to still improve. Do you know what I'm saying? Samson's going to have to still keep slowly getting better because Hardy can't be off enough to drop a plate. He's just his condition is too good.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice Samson? I feel like Samson's back double came up a lot, man. Like I was really impressed in that back double. Like to the point
the back needs another 2 years or so. That's what I'm saying. Samson's doing the business, and he's doing the business and competing. Like I'm amazed that he keeps getting better from a muscularity standpoint, which how much he competes too. So that's another talent.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't do it Rafa and disappear for, was it a year and come back? Like Samson's getting better at just as fast as rate as anyone, and he does I feel like he competes 10 times a year. It feels like, doesn't it? You know?
Okay, like looking at this back double, right? Look at the hamstrings, look at the actual back. Samson's condition is actually holding his own, if not actually better in the hammies. And I see more detail in the mid and upper back. It's really his glutes that don't come in, but anything other than his glutes, he's actually just as tight as Hardy.
Bro, you know what he should do? He should wear the 1990s trunks and cover the glutes like Lee Priest used to do.
He seriously should wear bigger trunks. You know what I mean? Like just out here.
Yeah, he should cut because his glutes should only show.
That looks hard there. That looks hard there.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah. So you don't have to show. You don't have to show it.
Exactly.
You don't have to show that.
Get bigger trunks. It might, as much as we laugh, that might be the thing that does it.
Look, you know? his trunks are smaller than Hardy's. I feel like he's showing more ass than Hardy, and I don't think he should be showing more ass.
No, he should not. He should not, because to get, bro, it's a whole nother level to get a shredded glute from the side. That's not hard to get them shredded from the side. To get them shredded from the rear and then all the way like into the middle of the arch cheek, you need to be walnut shredded to get that lean, and his trunks are really small.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's crazy.
But it'll probably change the shot. You never know. It'll probably change the look of the shot.
I think so. Well, Samson has his side poses. He has glute detail like 6 weeks out, like you just said, because the side glute is the easy part. It's getting all that in between ass crack action. That's the hard part.
His calves look huge there. I just noticed how big his calves look.
Yeah,
it does.
And the thing is, I said on the stream, I had Samson winning the back double. So I'm looking at this as a whole. And from top to bottom, it looks good. Yeah, the glutes aren't in, but I think there's enough happening. There's enough happening for me in the hamstrings. The calves look good. Not that they're really judged much. But then the back, there's a lot of pop and a lot happening here now across the back, the shoulders, and the arms combined. And with the structure of how wide he is, like look how much, like elbow to elbow, it's a lot wide. It's like out here, you know, compared to Hardy. And I had him winning the shot, you know.
I wonder how he would compare to Cedric now.
It'd be interesting.
I think he would be beating Cedric at this point, personally. I think so. I mean, it's crazy that Xavier says that. If Xavier would have said that a year ago, everybody would have said Xavier out of his mind. But I think I have to agree. In this show in particular, I actually think Samson's back double was more impressive. Not as wide or thick maybe as Hardy, but as the overall, I think it looked better on Samson, if I'm being completely honest.
I wonder how he would look if he took a year off like Rafa did. You know,
fucking crazy. I would assume
it would cost him a lot of money. It'd cost him $1 million.
Yeah, but even just all he needs to take off is an Olympia or an Arnold. You know, come back 12 months later
and do like a 9-month surplus or 7 months. Bro,
yeah, do a 9-month off season.
6-month surplus is like years for Samson.
yeah.
In Samson years, that's like 3 off seasons.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be the difference. Like if you're that frustrated. But he's obviously making bank right now, bro. Like Samson's making money now. He probably wants to keep doing it. You know, he's getting paid. He got a McLaren now. Like,
as much as I never want to say to Samson to skip the Olympia, and I don't even know his full situation. Like Milos did say in that podcast, he did say that Samson's never showed any signs of being burnt out or whatever. But man, I don't know. Samson's 13 shows in 2 and a bit years sort of says otherwise. Like that's a lot of shows where he's never got, and the mental let up as well, because he's constantly driving towards a goal. And I know Samson has a very driven and intense personality when it comes to competing. Like he's like, we've heard him speak. He's like, man, I'm all in. I'm giving it all I got, you know? And that's how he is. He goes
Samson
at
voice.
it. You like it?
Right. He's got to be.
Man, I'm digging deep.
That sounds like him. He's got to be tough as nails, bro, to be able to handle prepping 24/7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I gotta agree with Xavier. I think at best at the Olympia, I don't think this year he's gonna beat Derek, Hardy, or Nick. So I think he's probably looking more at the 4th position. So if he missed the Olympia, I think he has a legit chance to win the Arnold, actually, from the improvements that Samson can make. And I guess maybe working with a different coach, maybe coming tighter, hopefully. I think he has a chance of winning 500 grand. So to talk about the money he might lose from the Olympia, how much does fourth place get at the Olympia? 50, I don't know, 75?
I think that's
Yeah,
75.
75, yeah.
So I think he's willing to give up 75 for a potential to win 500K or maybe 250. I don't know what second it's going to get.
Mm.
I think with the improvements, Samson, 6 months for Samson is like 2 years for some people.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So if he takes the
It's hard
Olympia
to say
off,
that too. Like you don't want to tell him like Xavier. It'd be hard to tell him skip an Olympia, but fuck, Regan did it, and like Rafa did it.
yeah.
But
You know?
Regan and Rafa weren't going to place where Samson's going to place as well.
Yeah, I know,
and
because
potentially
yeah.
win.
Yeah, when you're a top
Yeah.
five, you're literally giving away another Olympia, 100 grand, probably roughly. Like, I don't know. It's a tough one. I guess we're just saying it as fans. It'd be cool to see because he competes so much. What would 6 months surplus do to his physique? You know.
Well, think about this as a plan, man. Do skip the Olympia this year, and I know the Olympia people will hate to hear that, and sorry to the Olympia people. I mean, skip the Olympia or the Arnold, whichever one. Skip one of them. Go, just say you skip the Olympia, you go into the Arnold next year. You do the Arnold USA, you do the Arnold UK, you do the Arnold Brazil. That's probably like 4 weeks, 3 contests or whatever. Imagine if he wins all 3 of those. What's the Arnold Brazil? Is that like 100K? You got 150 at the UK, then you got 500. He could win what, $750,000 winning those 3 shows or something. It's huge.
Why wouldn't he win? I think Hadi did this Arnold just to prove a point. I don't believe that Hadi is going to come to the US twice a year, every year.
Exactly right, bro. He won't.
You don't think he'd try?
Nah.
I don't think so. I think he wouldn't prove a point because he lost to Derek. I mean, I can't read Hadi's I can't read Hadi's mind. This is just what I'm assuming. You don't want to risk getting the visa twice and then maybe not being able to do the Olympia. The Olympia is always the priority. So
I reckon he did
think
it to redeem himself. Because you remember, there's a lot of hate with Hardy because he stormed off the stage too.
Yeah, Hardy made a point. Like, had he not have won, everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to go nuts." I'm like, he wouldn't have gone nuts. He knows now not to do that. And I think someone said something, so he knows not to do that. But he made a point to go up to Samson and be like, hold his hand up, like, yes. Like,
And he really did come back and make a big start after losing that Olympia. Hardy, in my eyes, it's 50-50 on to the next Olympics between Derek and Hardy, man. Like,
for sure.
He's redeemed himself 100%. There's a good argument to say that Hardy was the best Hardy ever at Columbus. Like, would that have beat Derek? But you can't judge yet because is Derek growing? Like, we don't know. But I reckon it was a smart move. It was a smart move what he done. He redeemed himself 100%. So,
well, the point I was gonna make is that nobody's gonna stop Samson from winning all those Arnolds because Hardy probably won't do it again next year. I saw on one of his Hani's podcasts, somebody asked about Mr. Olympia's competing in Arnold. It doesn't sound like Hani Rambide would want his Olympia champ to actually do the Arnold. Second place is one thing to redeem yourself, but we've never he doesn't have his guys who are Olympia champions do the Arnold, and I don't think he's gonna start doing that now. I don't think he's into that. He's like, fuck that. You're Mr. Olympia. You come and you win the Olympia. So I would assume Derek probably wouldn't do it either. Nick said, I believe on our podcast maybe, that he's not gonna do an Arnold until after he wins the Olympia. I think there was, I don't know if we said this without him or he said it, but I'm pretty sure he said he wouldn't do a Arnold again until, but it wasn't 500
man,
grand.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've got a question. Was it 500 grand when he said that, or was it 300?
No, it wasn't. So I don't know. Maybe he'll give it. I think if Nick doesn't win it in the next couple of years, I think he's gonna do the Arnold. I think he's gonna do the Arnold. So I don't know. So like, I don't think anybody's gonna be in Samson's way, and Samson already beat Nick technically. So if he makes the improvements, I don't see anybody stopping Samson from winning $750,000 next year.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we don't know because Nick Walker might go, shit, that's 750K I could win, you know? And if Nick gets second at the
Yeah.
Olympia or third at the Olympia, and then Hardy and Derek aren't doing it. But you got to wonder, would Derek do it? Like, even if, you know, Hani Rambod can say, Derek, I advise you not to do it. But Derek's like, I just won the Mr. Olympia. If he did, or get second.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm a grown ass man. I'm going to go get that 750K or so. And maybe there's some sponsorship bonuses in there as well. It could be, you know, it could be 900K for him, you know, winning that run of shows. And then doing the Olympia afterwards. So in a calendar year, if just say the Olympia up at 500K, 1.4 mil.
Is Olympia upping it now to match the Arnold, or what's happening there? Like, that could go up again as well.
They got to go over. They can't match them. They got to go over. Yeah. If they match them, they're basically saying Arnold still got us by the balls. They have to be like, nah, fuck you, Arnold. We're gonna do more. You know.
Yeah.
I heard Dennis James actually on the Menace podcast. He said he's like, Arnold's not going to stop. He's going to keep upping it. And I'm like, ooh, if Arnold keeps upping it, if it's 500K now, what's 600, 700 million eventually? Is that going to
start throwing in cars and shit? Like,
yeah. Hey man, all I know is
I don't want to get in this subject, but I reckon they, instead of just upping first, they should start trickling. You can use sponsors and get cars, get Harley Davidson on board, get like Chevrolet on board, and trickle the money and prizes all the way down to 10th place, and then you'll get a better lineup. You know what I mean? Because think about it, if you imagine if 6th to 10th, all their prize money goes up substantially, they're going to make more money getting 6th to 10th than doing a normal pro show. You're going to have the thickest top 10, top 15 in Arnold. You'll get the best lineup ever. True, because you can't just up first, second, and third, because those positions are rarely going to change. For each 5-year period, they sort of stay the same.
Well, the top 3, more than likely, they're already doing very well anyways, you know? So the money is an incentive, but they're already making close to $1 million probably, you know, per year, if not, you know, anywhere from 500, you know, they're already making really good money. So the incentive that you want to incentivize is kind of like everybody else, you know, outside the top 5 as well, you know, but the first place definitely, the first place has to go up. It's just that how high do you want to keep going? You know, I don't know about that. That's the thing. Now, if Arnold keeps going up for first place, Jake Wood might have to discontinue that Rising Phoenix show because he's gonna need some extra cash for the Olympia. That's for sure.
Stan's just joining us.
Is Jake Wood still gonna own? I heard a rumor that someone else is gonna own the Olympia. Is that true or?
I don't know. Xavier if there's nothing disclosed, I wouldn't say anything. But
I don't know where
what's up, Stan?
I heard a rumor, but I don't know.
Hey guys.
What's up, Stan?
Yeah. Well, the only thing I've heard is that someone else wants to buy the Olympia, but that's all I've heard. So
guarantee it's someone from Dubai, bro. Like, tell
me, it's a lot of money.
They have the most money in the world. I swear, one day, like the Arabs will own everything because they've got unlimited money now.
Hey, what if it's
100K? They're doing 100K for a regular pro show.
Yeah. I want to see Chris Bumstead buy the Olympia.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
He's the highest paid IFBB pro in the world, isn't he? Has to be easily.
Yeah. The man pays himself.
Yeah. Well, dude, like his appearance fee. I remember Ian Valier saying this is quite a while ago. He was saying something to the nature of, you know, Chris Bumstead, you know, charges at least 50 grand for a weekend or something, or he said something like 50 grand. He's like, he makes more than that in an appearance. I'm like, okay, well, that gives us a ballpark, you know, an appearance for Chris Bumstead is over 50 grand or 50 grand or something. So the dude make a weekend, like those seminars that him and Hani were doing, like they were packing these huge gyms in America. I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of people. I don't know how much they were, but even if they're 60, 70, $80 a head or something, and they could probably charge for photos, they could sell apparel there. And, you know, everyone that goes there is going to buy a ticket, probably going to buy a t-shirt. They're going to get, you know, pay for whatever else. Just say each person goes there, puts in $200 or something, or $150. They're going to get a lot of money out of having 500 or 1,000 people there. You know, that's $100 grand in a weekend or in 4 hours.
Just look at his I think it's called Bum Athletic Club or something like that. He makes a drop and he's dropping what 20 pieces of clothing. They're like $40 to $80. And people usually say, what, 5% of your following? What's 5% of, I don't know, 20 million? I mean, you start doing the
Sure.
math. He start
Surely he's not doing 5%. Surely
yeah,
not.
he's
1%.
yeah. Well,
Even
if he doesn't,
1%.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, I mean,
Well,
at that point,
he's the only pro bodybuilder flying around in private jets.
yeah, you know. So
No. Sarah Villegas.
oh yeah. That's right. So Vegas is flying private too.
Her husband's got money, I think. Yeah, but yeah, 1% of 20 million is 200,000. So imagine just say 200,000 times by what? What do we average all to be? 150.
I mean, they go for $40 to $80, maybe higher. And I don't know what the profit is, but you could say $20 profit. I don't fucking know, but either way, it's gonna be a lot of money.
But people would buy multiple, you know. Can they buy multiple?
Exactly.
So say they spend $150 on an
Bro,
order and just say
whatever he does that's selling out, period. He could bring out bloody a G-string and it'll just sell out. Like anything he sells, anything he makes that's going to sell out. Imagine that feeling. Imagine just sitting at home going, I'm going to make beer warmer, beer cold, what do you call them? Like beer coolers, anything like lunch bags, anything is just going to be instantly sold out.
Yeah, it's just about what's going to do best. Bum energy.
Yeah.
His app. He's got an app too.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
yeah,
the man's living a great life, I'm sure. You know,
so
sure
this is if everyone spent $150 and 1% of his followers purchased on a drop, it would be $30 million in sales. But surely it's not that. Surely it can't be that.
I mean, it might be. He just has other people to pay. I'm sure he has to pay, I don't know, managers and back end shit. I don't know. You know,
of course,
I personally wouldn't be surprised.
Still,
I wouldn't be surprised if he made, you know, in the millions per drop. I honestly,
I think he would. I think he would.
Yeah,
I honestly think he would.
Not 30 million, but
yeah. But even if he made 2 million a drop, I mean, he's doing good. But honestly, if I had to guess, I reckon he makes a lot more money than people out there anticipate.
Oh, for sure. Because he's also so humble.
He doesn't flex it. Yeah.
Same as Sam Sulek, same as these other guys. Like Sam Sulek, he's making like
making bank.
You know, Baidi, the length of his videos, they make more money. Longer videos make more money, and he's getting ridiculous views, and he's getting a commission off Hostile, and whatever else he's got coming in the future, man. Like honestly, the deals he could be signing now, I'm sure Hostile have themselves like the deal of the century because he has grown so much.
Oh yeah,
while being with them as well, you know.
His videos can be upwards to 40 to 60 minutes every single day, you know. You see what I'm saying? Like for my podcast,
I still can't figure out how that happened. Like he's a likable dude to me, but like how I just can't figure out. Like, did he hit the lottery or something, or like how that dude got so popular, man? Like he's an amateur bodybuilder. Has he ever competed before?
No, he hasn't.
Never competed, bro. It's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable.
If he competed, he probably would have less followers because his demographic now we know him now, but originally that wasn't his original demographic. The original demographic was 15 to 21-year-olds that just work out for fun. So I think if he competed, it would have been the opposite. We would have saw him, but he wouldn't. There's only so much of us. There's not 10 million of us. For us, there's about maybe 50,000 of us. So once somebody hits,
bodybuilding is the minority. He's going with the majority.
Exactly.
Well,
but
what are you saying, Stan?
I think no matter what, he would have worked. I think it's his personality. People also like how simple and how like he just goes for what he wants and what feels right to him, and he just doesn't really give a fuck. It's his whole attitude, his whole persona. So. Like Chris Bumstead came out from Classic and he's blowing up. He's just blowing up, but they would have blown up no matter what in a way or another. These people, because there's interest for their persona.
Yeah,
you can't fake it because it's like people. It only worked because he's so real. Now, if somebody says if somebody like I want to be like Sam Sulek, let me try to grow. once it looks like you're trying to grow and you're trying to do things to get more followers, you lose that appeal because it's no longer as natural. So
Not
because he
organic.
doesn't give a because he doesn't give a flying fuck, that's why people like him. And then the crossover appeal is that we like him too because we're meatheads at heart. So we're like, yo, we love this kid because he's not flexing a Lamborghini and walking around shirtless at the gym. He's just fucking working out in a baggy t-shirt and putting in the groundwork. So we don't care if he doesn't compete. We see him as one of us still because that was us at 22. You know, we were just meatheads who like to work out as well. You know?
Yeah.
I think sometimes the things that get you like short-term, like views, popularity, things like that, in terms of like even what like putting things up on YouTube, you know, if you make a really clickbaity title, you know that video will get views. But if you do that really hard every single video and people start to realize 90% of these videos is not what it is, what you're actually putting up, then people are going to get like tuned out. You know what I mean? Eventually. And Sam Sulek, I think for a while, low followers. And a few things would have gone viral. And then people were like, this dude's authentic as shit. And you don't see too many people that are super popular that are authentic as shit, you know? Because we're used to the 12-minute videos. And I actually watched a video on YouTube yesterday. And it was because all these other channels like YouTube growth channels and all of those, they're all doing videos now on Sam Sulek. And when we think that, you know, he's bodybuilding fitness, but no, all these people are trying to figure out how he grew to 3 million subscribers in the space of like 5 months or 6 months or whatever it is, which is insane. We think of Greg Doucette as being huge on YouTube and he's got 1 million and he's been around for years, you know, 4 years, 5 years, or he's probably got 1.5 or something now, but still the growth is out of control. And they were saying because people are sort of getting burnt out on like the Mr. Beast sensationalistic, like bang, boom, like things in your face, things coming up the screen. And now people are getting this authentic, chilled out, real person that you can tell they're not full of shit whatsoever. And even just him talking, he's very calming. He makes you sort of think about when you got into bodybuilding as well. So for people that like me, that, you know, I remember that hunger and that excitement with bodybuilding when you first get into it. And I remember that from him now. So it sort of motivates me in that way to think about it differently. Even though I don't follow his methods, it makes you think different, you know?
You know when you've made the big time, when there's a million fucking memes and reels about you. There's so many funny, bro. There's so many funny memes about Sam, bro. Like the real funny ones. Like I seen one yesterday, and it's like, it says on your wedding day, and he's like, yeah, just smashed out delts, god damn it, and I'm off to my wedding day. He's off to the wedding, and he's in his little shitty car, and he's like putting on a suit shirt, and like it's like he's running late for his own wedding, and he's had to quickly smash delts out. Like it's such a basic thing, but it's so funny because that's so him, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, zero fucks about the wedding, just go to quickly do back and delts or whatever he did. And there's so many funny memes I see about him, man.
Yeah, there's heaps.
Some people say like, well, I don't get it because he's boring. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't say he's boring. I think he's monotone. It's more so you can be charismatic and still be monotone. Because I think he is very charismatic. You know, he's not somebody who's jumping around and yelling and trying to be excitable. He's very calm, reserved, and monotone. But he is charismatic. I wouldn't call him boring. I think he's actually very charismatic.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
He must be charismatic because that's why he's so popular, I guess.
Yeah.
Feels like a few of it, like Nick Strength and Power, he gets the monotone thing. I get the monotone thing every now and then. I try to spice up a little bit, like, what's up, desktoppers? But I'm like, going too far for me. I'm like, it would feel inauthentic, you know, if I go too like loud or whatever. I'm like, it's not me. And I think people read bullshit, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people, like there's a few people on YouTube and there's been a few people on Instagram and things like that where I see their stuff and all these people are like, and I'm like, this person's full of shit. Like, can other people not just see it? You know? And I think that there's 50% of people that see it, 50% of people that are naive to it, you know?
Well, here's the thing. In 2024, you don't need gimmicks anymore because the real shit came back around, right? So I actually started a podcast like 4 years ago, but at that time in 2020, it was the excitable people, the people, hey guys, what's up? And I couldn't do that. So I felt like I was boring. I'm like, people don't want to watch me. So I didn't give it that much effort. And now it's the opposite. I think people I don't think I'm a host. I think I'm just a regular fucking guy who just talks shit. But I think people appreciate that now because we're in the age of real work. So people are like, I like this Baidi guy. He just does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And for a while, I didn't want to show that. I'm like, I'm not no fucking host. You know, I stutter. I got an accent. I mean, nobody wants to hear that. You know, but now people love it. They're like, they're just boys talking shit. You know, so now I feel like I can completely be myself. I don't have to be politically correct. I don't have to talk a certain way. I could just get on here and just talk shit, and people actually like it. And we all do that. I mean, on my podcast, we just Jay just fucking smoking the whole time, and we're just fucking chilling, you know. And people appreciate that now, you know, which is great because I feel like we didn't want to be fake. None of us want to be fake. So a lot of bodybuilders, we like, I don't want to do that social media shit. I don't want to do these skits and weird shit. We just want to work out and be ourselves. I think now we can do that and we can actually grow, you know.
Yeah,
No, that's true.
100%. Aaron, you remember when we used to do Aussie after hours back in the day?
Yeah.
You remember how popular that got like so quick, and it was literally it was Fuad's podcast, but without any of the bodybuilding talk, essentially. So and this was back in the days, like this was shit, maybe 10 years ago or something. And back then we'd talk about everything, you know, it was like all the sex talk, it was all the, and it was listen to questions. So it was essentially, Fuad's podcast, but just all the, and people weren't expecting to hear bodybuilding whatsoever. But that blew up because we were super honest on it, probably to a fault, you know, but it was, people could tell we were being real about what was actually going out, whether people liked it or not. It got popular way more quick because it was just that. And I think people probably had an idea of the way things should be. But I think like Joe Rogan, I think he's influenced so many people. I know, you know, Fuad watches Joe Rogan and he has a Joe Rogan type podcast, but bodybuilding focused, you know, and obviously a little bit different as well. And then that sort of trickled down through different industries. Not just this industry has these podcasts like this. It's, you know, all these other industries I've noticed have them now. So it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Because the podcast is cool for people who like whatever the subject is, because it's kind of like the behind the scenes talk, you know. It's not just like the whole thing that we all know what it is, but it's like what's going through our minds, you know, like all the things that we don't necessarily know, you know, unless you're going through that. And as all of us, you know, watching or doing, you know, this podcast, the people who are watching it, we all like relate to that because we have the similar, you know, struggles or obstacles. Well, I will say, you know, eating 6 meals, getting our workouts, like our priorities are more aligned, so people relate to us, you know, because we're just all kind of the same. We're just living our whole lives trying to fit our bodybuilding in it.
Yeah.
Stan, can you say croissant?
Croissant.
I just want to hear it. I just want to hear somebody who speaks French say it.
Man, it sounds so smooth. You try to say it yourself.
All right. Do you actually eat croissants or not?
No, bro. No.
Is it Patrick,
but
man?
Right. No, I don't mean in prep, off season, but Dan eats
bro,
prep.
I'm on prep 365 a year. That's why I'm
Exactly.
Oh.
You have the leanest ass of any off-season pro in the world.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But Stan, if you go to a pastry shop, would you say croissant or would you say croissant?
That's the best question. I'll probably try to sound American, trying to pronounce it instead of how you're supposed to. Because nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about.
I like
croissant. Yeah. You know the drink, the sparkling water, like croix?
Yeah.
Croix. People say like croix, it's like what's he talking about? It's like croix. It's the cross. It's not like croix, whatever. I don't know. It's so funny,
you probably look American but sound French too.
Yeah, but when I say them I'm French, oh, you know, for example, if there's water, there's the one French word they know. So, you want LaCroix? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like they think like, you know, I know a French word. It's like, well, you pronounce it pretty fucking wrong. So I can't. I'm trying my best here, but
hey, Stan,
that's funny.
Stan, be honest, like moving to America and having a French accent, like obviously you've got a partner now, but that did that work with her, like having a French accent?
Oh yeah,
it's smooth. It's
maybe
smooth,
like
sure.
my accent.
Girls like it; they think it's romantic.
What'd you say?
It's smooth.
Yeah, I wish I had it. There's almost like no girl that I've ever like been with that they'll even just be like, yeah, French accent's good. You know, I'm almost like, fuck. So
They don't
but
like
I don't know.
they don't like your accent.
Oh man, Australian accents are rough. Aaron, you're even more Australian sounding than me.
Bro, American girls like Aussie accents.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know
Oh,
why. I reckon it's the worst accent in the world.
it sounds shit.
Because every time I went to America when I was younger, American girls that used to always say we love the Australian accent, and I personally think it's the worst accent in the whole.
They were just saying that to you because you were a pretty boy when you were younger.
That it was common, bro. It was common. I don't know. Ask maybe other boys will know, but
They do. I mean, I think they do if it's smooth. They're the guy that goes to zoo who has the Australian accent, but he has this really deep voice and he talks all slow and shit. So they like that. They like that shit.
They get it confused with the UK though. Often UK and Australian they can't differentiate.
Everyone thinks I'm from the UK lately. Everyone.
Because
Terry Kilgindi said, "Oh, how are things in England, Xavier's?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm in Australia."
Every time I compete in America, they're like, "Oh, are you from the UK or Australia?" I'm like, "No." And they don't sound alike at all, do they? UK is.
I don't think so. I don't think it sounds alike at all.
Yeah,
I mean, a little bit, but not enough to mistake it.
Like, listen to how Nathan Diasha speaks.
Oh yeah,
holy shit!
He's like, it's so different.
A lot of the Aussie, you guys are from the UK, but just like a while ago.
We're the immigrant. We're what do they call us? The convicts.
Yeah, you were the convicts. All the guys from the jail were too full. They sent you over there.
Tough guys.
First accent from the UK. So
you're my mum's side's all UK.
Yeah. So I think mine's pretty much all UK. Like I don't even really know. I'm just white Australian. I assume just all my ancestors come from the UK. Like I know my nan's mum was from the UK. Like.
My dad's side's all Greek. That's why I look like the Greek side, not the UK side.
Yeah, you see, you got the good stuff. Like when you just white Australian, it's just boring. It's like, oh, where does your name come from? I'm like, oh shit, my mum heard it on like Sale of a Century, man. Like
Sale of a Century.
Yeah, legit. So it's sort of boring. I wish I had some sort of like Croatian in me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but people always like other countries' accents. You know, like we like American girls like Australia. You never like your own country anyway.
I don't like girls' British accents typically.
Really? But European girls have the best. European girls have the best accents.
Yeah. Where's
Europe's big?
Where's Stan actually from originally? Like, are you from France originally?
You want the long answer?
Yeah, go the long answer. I want your history.
Yeah, I want to.
I was born in Paris, but when I was born, my parents lived in Nigeria. So I'm actually kind of part. I'm part of the crew.
In Nigeria, yeah. Come on, Stan. Yeah, I knew it. I knew that lineup on the beard. I could tell. I knew it, Stan. I saw something there, Stan. I saw it.
In Nigeria.
You're from Nigeria?
No, Ghana. We're like we're like neighbors.
Yeah.
I'm like the fat stepbrother from Nigeria.
All right. Yeah, we went back to France, so Paris, and I lived there until I was 10, and then we moved to Switzerland, where I learned German, Spanish. Well, Spanish is just that. And then I moved to LA when I was 25.
Holy shit!
Bro, when you moved to LA, what year was that?
When I moved to LA was 2014, 10 years ago.
Yeah, because I met you in 2015. I think when I did.
I think it was 18.
Oh, but I thought I met you when I did, because I did 2015 Arnold Amateur, and Sean was helping me out there. Were you training with Sean then or not?
Maybe actually, yeah, you might be right, because I was there for sure.
Yeah.
But I remember officially meeting you in 2018 at the Olympia. That's for sure. That's how I remember you.
19 Olympia. Because
that was 19.
I did the 19 Olympia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
now.
I've done.
When you were in Nigeria, what language did you speak? Like broken English? You spoke broken English?
No, French. I was speaking French. I was a kid. I was I was a baby. I was learning
My mom
French.
speaks French. My mom speaks French, actually. I mean, you know how it is in Africa, especially where people speak all kinds of shit.
I speak French.
They're like, oh yeah,
No,
You
you
do?
don't.
We learned French in grade 9 at school. I know how to say my name. Je m'appelle Aaron.
Oh, nice.
okay, good enough, good enough.
Me
That's all I
chiamo
know.
Xavier. It's like everyone learn language.
In French, Xavier.
Xavier.
Yeah,
Xavier.
Oh, I
ça va
like that,
bien.
man. I should start telling everyone my name is Xavier, and they'll just think I'm from Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
How's it
More
going?
attractive. But I don't know how we went from that. We were talking about the Arnold, and then we took a hard left, man. We took a hard left.
I never heard anything about that. I was wondering if you were closing out.
No, we'll quickly get back on it because we only literally covered Samson and Hardy, so we'll touch on the other guys before we go. Let me just pull it up. Do you guys still have a bit of time?
Yeah, I'm
Oh yeah, I'm good.
I'll probably have to go, bro.
You have to go?
Shit, shush. I'm at my mate's house with his dog's felt loud. Yeah, because I got to eat and then I got an appointment in like 30 minutes.
All right, too easy, my man. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, boys. Catch
All right,
up.
brother.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
brother. Yeah, my food is so low that I could kind of eat when I want because I don't eat enough food that it's hard to eat.
Yeah.
Do
Do you get that when you like delay it a little bit? It's like, yeah, like I can put these meals like 15 minutes together more.
Yeah, I kind of have to. If I don't do it, I'll be hungry all day. So I kind of have to like space it in a way that I feel more satiated. So if I'm full before I go to sleep, it helps me sleep. If I'm hungry, oh man, I'm gonna have a rough time getting to bed.
If you wake up early in the morning, do you do that when you prep? Just because you're hungry?
Like not eat?
Yeah, well, do you wake up early and then go, shit, I'm going to delay my meal a little bit because if I eat at 4 a.m., I'm in trouble, or like 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, even off season, bro. I didn't have my first meal today till like 3 o'clock, 3 p.m.
What?
Really? This is how you stand?
Yeah. it doesn't make sense, but right now, morning weight, I'm 295. My calories are like 3,500, bro.
Oh my god. I don't think I even died.
I love Stan, but we can't see you.
Bro,
my girlfriend, she's doing bikini. I think she's eating like 3,300 calories a day.
It's
really?
And she's staying lean.
Wow.
This is the thing when it comes to body types, bro. It doesn't always make sense. Like you have a general understanding, but then you'll always meet outliers where you're like, boy, that doesn't even make. What are you talking about? Yeah. So I try not to even discuss my diet because it's so weird. And then that's why I can relate with guys like Akeem. It's like, bro, eat less. It's like he can't eat less. He's down to like 800 calories. What the fuck you want him to do? Like there's no less he can eat. There's no more cardio. There's nowhere to go. So at that point, you just gotta. I can't tell you the answer because I haven't been as straight as I actually want to yet. So,
do you know what's funny for me?
Yeah.
I actually used to have like really bad fatigue, and I've sort of spoken about it on a few podcasts before. But like the short of it is, I got in contact with a guy called Matt Legg, and I had this horrible fatigue, and I said, man, I'm just at like breaking point. Like I'm desperate because I was waking up and like an hour after like a 9-hour sleep, I'm like, I need to go to bed again. I'm like, this is messed up. He gave me this whole protocol. Like it was really high ashwagandha. It was a bunch of B vitamins. It was all this sort of stuff. And dude, I was increasing my calories in the 2 months after that and just dropping body fat. And then I just found I'm like, I don't need to sleep anymore. I don't need to do this. And it's like it just took all this stress off my body and regulated my cortisol to the point where I could eat so many more calories and still get lean.
Mm-hmm.
And then the preps I've done since then, I've added that in, like the ashwagandha and a few of those little supplements just intermittently. And like how easy it was for me to get lean, it felt like I didn't do my job properly, almost apart from the last like 2 weeks. The rest of my prep was like a 10-week prep, and I grew muscle and got lean quick. Like I'll send you some before and afters, man. And I'd never experienced something like that in myself before. So I'm like, and I've done it with clients, and I good success rate in terms of getting people lean and in really good shape. So I always sort of recommend it because obviously when you're prepping, if you're waking up really early and all that sort of stuff's happening, or your body's overstressed, then your body just fights back against you. Like you see some of these guys, they push harder. It's like, how are you looking worse and worse? It's like you're putting in max effort and you're not getting the results.
Don't do that.
So.
You don't want to do that. So let me preface that even though right now I'm at 3,500 calories, it doesn't stay that way the whole time. At one point, I had pushed it up to 5K, and even now on the weekends, I might have a couple high days, right? I might go 5,000, 6,000 just for those 2 days. Because what will happen is your metabolism will die out. At some point, if I keep it 3,500, that's my new set point. So for me, you know, so you don't want, once that happens, you're fucked because you're not getting lean now. You know, tough time, you're gonna have a tough time getting lean. So same thing, you know, pre-contest, if I'm down to 1,500 calories, well, if I'm down to 1,500 calories by 10 weeks out, I'm not going to be on fucking 50 calories. So what happens is you go down, go down, go down until you're in the dumps. And then you have to come off the cardio a little bit, push the food a little bit. You won't get fat that fast, but then just create that new set point before going down. So if you have a shitty metabolism, you can't just do less and less and less forever. You're going to still look like shit. I've tried it.
Yeah.
You know,
You do low carb when you diet?
Yeah. Pretty low carb, like
That's
50
probably why.
carbs.
So you need carbs to produce energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the more carbs you have, the more energy you have. So you can train harder. And me, it was like with Esquido, we would always do the same thing. When we started prep, obviously it would pull out a few things from my diet because obviously I would eat like whatever I wanted basically with them. And then we would start, you know, like 30 minutes of cardio a day or 20 minutes, start training. After 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, now I started leaning out. I'm in a good like rhythm. At that point, it would be like, okay, take a day off cardio. And then I had more energy to train. So then I would train even harder. So then I started leading out without even doing cardio. At that point, it's like it's going too fast. So then I would start giving me cheat meal. And I would eat like burger and fries every day, bro. And do cardio and just lean out.
Baidi's like, fuck you, Stan.
Well, because Stan also had a crazy metabolism, you know. What would happen when I was working with Compton? He would try to give me, okay, I ran him to the ground, okay, burger and fries. Cool, burger and fries. And then he would see me the next day and I'm like up, 15 pounds. He's like, what the fuck, bro? Why are you up so? I'm like, I don't know, man. That's just how my body responds. So then he stopped doing that. Then he would have to give me like a cup of rice. And then I would still look like I had a pizza. And he'd be like, what the? So we kind of learned that my body's just so sensitive. Now, that being said, you have to continue to do the refeeds because your body, it only becomes more sensitive, right? So if I go 2 weeks that low, now I have carbs and I'm just going to rebound even worse. So what Stan is saying is true. There has to be a balance. You can't just say you have a shit metabolism, so we're just going to kill you for 20 weeks. You won't get in shape. You have to build that metabolism. Like Stan is saying, okay, you feel like shit, you can barely do cardio. I'm going to have to feed you enough to have the energy to train hard and do cardio. You have to be smart. It's a pull and push. Okay, Baidi, we have to go low a couple days, but then we have to feed you again.
Yeah.
But you also have to be careful with the type of cardio you're doing. Because when you're doing cardio, some people, they just go too hard. And like, go too hard, you're burning glycogen. You want to go on slow, just like, like a hybrid car. You want to stay on the electric. You want to go, slow effort, slow and steady. Just burn body fat. Like if you're burning 300 calories in like 30 minutes, probably like 200 of them is just glycogen, I mean, I'm just putting numbers out of my, but like that's just to tell you, if in 30 minutes you go slow and you burn 100 calories and from the body fat, that's 100 calories of fat that you burn. If you burn 300, but 200 is just glycogen, that's not really beneficiating you,
It's not.
And another thing I wanted to ask you is like, how do you train? Do you do like time under tension, like metabolic workout more, or do you train like just heavy weight and high intensity?
I train like a barbarian meathead in the 90s. I kind of come in. I do a lot of heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, heavy rows. I'm trying to be a little bit smarter, like controlling the negative a little bit, but it's still pretty like it's pretty basic stuff. Just the heavy deadlifts, heavy rows, heavy squats.
We just change that and creating more time and attention. We create more like metabolic stress that will help.
Yeah, I've heard that as well before.
I'm down to
time under tension, slower eccentrics and things like that. Like because obviously you need to use enough weight to create that metabolic thing. But yeah, that's definitely something. Baidi, I was wondering because I feel like Stan's intrigued and I'm intrigued as well by people that sometimes have a harder time getting lean, like Samson, like yourself, like a bunch of guys. But do you ever use, because you mentioned about not doing the cheat meals and then doing like the cup of rice and things like that. Have you ever used any like glucose disposal agents as they're called now, or insulin mimickers as some people call them, or have you used like metformin or anything or?
Berberine?
No, No, just because my blood sugar has always been like my fasted blood sugar, it'd be like 70, bro. So I just never felt the need to try any of that.
So is that 70 during the off season or 70 during prep?
Off season.
Oh wow,
that's
good. But take it with a grain of salt because my carbs are like 300 for 400 off season about. So like I said, I don't keep it there. I try to push it. Like Compton had me push it before to like 900 carbs. You know, I just didn't look really good. I put on a lot of fat, but I didn't put on muscle. But just too much body fat that I'm comfortable with. I'm like, for this shit to come off, I'm gonna have to kill myself. I don't even want to go there. So. But
how was your fat then? When
your
carbs with the fat? Yeah, your fat intake.
It wasn't too high. I think it was chicken and beef meals. I don't think we added any fat. I don't believe we did. Yeah, just to be able to.
But it depends how lean your beef is, because if you have really high carb, you want the fat to be like a minimum of what you need, like maybe 60 grams a day or something, like not too high.
Yeah, just get your essentials in and what you need,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, but basically when I was Compton, he was trying to figure out like what the fuck is wrong with this guy's body, and then I went off and coached myself for. I went for a while and coached myself, and I don't actually know why it's like that, but I think I just come to peace with it. I'm like, it's fine, because if I watch guys like Stan and Stu, I'm like, I wouldn't want to have to eat 9,000 calories anyways. That shit sucks.
Yeah, you want to be slightly just short of that.
Exactly. So I look at I get to save money on food. I get to save money on fucking toilet paper. Fuck it, So the way I guess not that bad. It gets bad like close to the show, but I don't even have a big appetite. So I'm like, I actually don't mind it, man. As long as I'm shredded, I really don't care. I don't mind suffering a little bit or a lot of bit. It doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, pushing down hard.
Also, like I said, I'm from Ghana. You'll see people in Ghana eating one meal a day, and they're like over 200 pounds shredded, right? So like genetically, for whatever reason, I don't think we need. William Bonac has gone on record saying off season he kind of eats a couple meals a day sometimes, doesn't push the calories. I think body type wise, our bodies have evolved to a point that maybe we just don't need a lot of food. I don't know. I don't know the science of it, but
Andrew Jackson, he doesn't eat much in his off season, like.
He doesn't.
And Drew is Nigerian. Close, but
yeah. Hey Stan, maybe because you're Nigerian, you could eat less in your off season.
Yeah, Stan gotta eat. He gotta eat up. I don't think it's a negative. Honestly, I think in some ways it could give me more longevity because my body doesn't have to process as much shit. But it's gonna take it off on the back end because I have to kill myself to get in shape. So
exactly. Yeah. You try to think of the positives too. Like when I've like shrunk down, because I'm shrunk down at the minute. I always think I'm like, well, I'm eating a little bit less protein now. It's healthier for my body. Like I'm talking myself into the positives of it. And I'm like, I'm going to be so fresh when I start pushing it again. And I'm like, man, I'm just justifying way out how I look like shit right now. But, there are positives as long as you don't just, I think sometimes like people go off the plan, but then the food they do eat is just total crap. And they feel lethargic, they got high inflammation, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to go back into bodybuilding now. If you treat it more as a way to get healthier, if you aren't like at your peak and you're not in a stage of gaining muscle, then that's the best way to do it, because then there's so many processes in the body, and this correlates to this and this correlates to that. The same way like the human body does in terms of injuries too. Like you can have something in your back that's hurting your bicep, like something's tight back there that relates to that. It's the same thing with the body,
Yeah. You can even have, I had a problem with my right trap and it came from my left adductor. So yeah.
Damn. Holy shit. That's a big
and it was the fascia, so all the attention they just go around.
That's insane, bro. How much cardio does Stan have to do?
Not much. Like 30-40 minutes per day most.
I guess it would be fun to be able to use all your energy on training and not have to worry about cardio. That's kind of fun because I think we all love training and nobody likes cardio, So that would be the fun part.
I like cardio, man, but when I was liking cardio when I did a prep, it was like I lived 10 minutes from the beach. So I would walk over this hill and then walk and get this view of like the ocean. And it was like first thing in the morning, you know, sun's just coming up, walking down there, and it's like fresh air. Like I loved that. And I loved it most when I'm doing like 45 minutes of cardio or 40 minutes of cardio. When it gets up to like an hour or an hour and 5, just at the end of prep, that's pretty much the max I'll do a day. Apart from one day a week, I'll do a little bit more. But once it hits that point and you're doing it consistently, like pretty much every day, it's like, then you're like, okay, my legs are getting pretty fucked. Like this is the day after leg day. I'm pretty cooked now. But yeah, outside of that, I love cardio, man. But my preps as well are like 10 weeks. So it's not hard to get through that, or 11 weeks or whatever.
I don't mind like 20-minute, 30-minute morning cardio to get my mind right. Wake up and answer some text messages, you know, kind of get into the zone. That. But 2 hours of cardio, man, I'm like, yo, this is bullshit.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Almost like that too.
You? Oh, you say who?
Arnold.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
Hours and hours.
Yeah, that's rough.
Whatever it takes.
Pretty slow, but yeah, it would go on for 2-3 hours.
All right.
He didn't have the best metabolism either, right?
What?
He didn't have the best metabolism neither, right, Sean Roden?
No.
Yeah.
I was eating one more in classic than he was in open bodybuilding. Way more. While dieting.
That's crazy. But let's discuss some of these placings, because we had John De La Rosa, who was in 4th place. He was actually in 3rd after the prejudging. Keem Williams moved forward. It almost looked like James Hollingshead was in 4th by the call-outs, but I think enough judges went, nah, Keem's in 4th place. And then, yeah, obviously he moves up and John moves down. What do you think about John, Baidi?
Well, first of all,
John De La Rosa.
Well, first of all, it looked like he worked on his posing a lot. He's flowing a lot better. He doesn't look, he looks like he's moving. Yeah, it looks a lot more fluid than I actually remember seeing John pose, you know, so kudos to him on that. You said, what do I think of his look here?
Yeah.
I think he was tighter in the US. I can't tell if it's an oil thing or a tan thing, maybe an oil thing. For some reason his oil or tan maybe doesn't look as good as US, but he was still on. I mean, he was still more shredded than Akeem from the back, but Akeem was better from the front, in my opinion. And Akeem is bigger, man. He's a bigger guy, but I think he was maybe a couple percentages off from the Arnold, but he was still on, and he was still one of the best Johns we've seen.
How much does he look like Martin Fitzwater here when he crunches his abs on that front double? Because like Martin sort of has the same issue where he has like the not so much a huge issue, but where his arms aren't quite as hard in that front double bicep, but still has that nice taper, and the abs look quite similar to Martin's as well. Who's, like I mentioned him on the last podcast, he's looking like a freak at the moment. But yeah, I thought John looked good again, but yeah, he just, whether it was the lighting or whatever from the stream, I think that hurt him a little bit. But overall, I still thought it was a very good package. But I agreed with the Keem being over John. What do you think, Stan?
I mean, you and I, we talked a little bit. We were confused about after prejudging how it went down. Because it seemed like Hakeem was like 6'7" or something. Because they called like everybody, James, Hakeem, James, John, Samson, and Adi. And it seemed like it was a top 4, if I recall properly. And I was like,
you're right.
On the stream, looked amazing. He looked really, really, really good. But then after that, when I saw the Gilco video, somehow, like from the back, it didn't look as sharp as on the stream. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But it seemed like he was not that far prejudging. So yeah, then I came back. I don't know if he was better on Saturday night for the finals. I thought he looked very similar both nights. I thought he looked really good. John, he was really good too. I think he was a little better on the prejudging.
This was from finals, by the way.
But they changed the coloring of the stream too between prejudging and finals. Like at the
show, so much better, man. So, and it was clearer too. It was clearer, wasn't
it? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about his tan. Now his tan looks fine. Maybe it was just the streaming, right? His tan looks great here.
Yeah. Well, before it was
Yeah.
finals as well, but they did go off stage for a fair while as well. So this was
Okay.
probably an hour later. So he probably went on stage for his individual posing routine and then realized, okay, maybe it's a bit matte looking, and then went backstage, fixed it up, and then he's come out looking like this. So yeah, this looks way better in terms of color.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
Is
do we
it
all
me?
agree that? Sorry, you go.
I don't think, is it me or they kind of have similar physiques? They got big arms, big legs, and a small waist, a tiny waist.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sort of do. They sort of do.
They,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of similar.
Yeah,
And
but
both of
I'm
them,
so impressed. I'm so impressed with Akeem, man. Like just that return, like the fact that he's come in so good. Now working with Chris Aceto, you got to take your hat off to Chris Aceto.
I feel like
No,
Akeem. Oh, go ahead.
What was that, Stan?
no, I was just
Please.
look how much he's breathing, through his stomach.
That's
the
where
only
I was
thing.
worried for him. That's where I was worried for Akeem. The second rotation, breathing through his stomach, because the same thing as Samson as well compared to Hardy at the finals. I think it was the finals. Whenever they went through a few rotations, I'm like watching Samson. I'm seeing a bit of sweat like come down his chest. I'm like, Samson, hold on. And then it's just, yeah, you can see him breathing through his stomach.
I see it. He's breathing. He did a good job of covering his stomach through in the transitions, but when he's holding it, yeah, he's breathing really hard through his stomach.
I said exactly the same thing. I think I maybe even, I don't know if I paused the stream, but I said exactly the same thing. I said, as he goes to the side, there it is there. It's like, see, he's got his arm over his stomach when he's going into that side chest. And I made a mention of that on the live that I did.
Yeah.
It was noticeable that he was like holding it there, letting himself breathe, and then pulling into it. I'm like, that's a veteran move, like he knows exactly what he's doing there.
Smart. Akeem's waist from behind is so small, it almost looks weird because it's so tiny.
What's with that? Like,
bro, it looks smaller than his head. His waist is the size of his head. Yeah, it's weird.
Same as John too. John in the back double looked crazy small too, but I think even Akeem was smaller in the back double, and I was shocked. Like, John's pretty tiny, but yeah. They both actually, Akeem's back double was probably his most improved pose as well, which was cool to see Akeem and Samson actually improve two of their weaker poses. I think the back double on Samson is no longer a weakness. Like the back is weaker, but it's not a weakness anymore when you really look at it and don't just go, oh, the back's smaller, because you have that preconceived notion. I still had people in my stream saying Samson's back double's weak. I'm like, when you look at it and you actually look at it, it's not weak anymore.
But I think the main thing is, like, if you look at Samson from the front, he almost looks top heavy. He's so like huge. I mean, his quads are massive. Like, I'm not even, but from the front, it looks like he's got so much size on the top of his body, and from the back, it's kind of the legs are a little bit the upper body.
Yeah,
I'm watching this weekend Arnold UK. He's just so massive from the front. Like, his legs are huge, but they're almost like overpowered by his upper body, and from the back, it's the opposite effect.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like losing to Hadi, not that anybody wants to lose, but I feel like he's taking it really hard, and I don't think it's anything to kind of hold your head down about. I think losing to Hadi is, Hadi is one of the best we've seen ever, possibly at this point. So,
and he closed
you can
the
make
gap,
a case.
He also closed the gap in 2 weeks, and changing coaches and stuff. Like, he went through quite a bit, and he made some adjustment that paid off in a short period of time already. So now, until the Olympia, he can make even more toward that physique.
Anybody could make a really strong case that Hadi literally deserved to win every show he's ever done. Because that first show against Flex, there's a show, everybody thought Hadi should have won that shit,
Yeah.
He won Vancouver, and that all the Olympias he did, a lot of people made an argument that San Marino, he did what, 5 Olympias or 6? You can make an argument that he deserved to win everyone he's done. So we're talking about potentially one of the best bodybuilders we've ever seen. Top at this point, at some point, maybe top 10. I don't know. That might be a little premature. But Hadi is that fucking good. He legit could have been undefeated his entire career. So that's just some food for thought.
He's always been, he's either been winning his show or he's been right there, 100%. But not to miss out on these other guys, I want to quickly just touch on them. We had Antoine Valiant. He finished down in 7th place. We had Moshe Ban in 6th. And in 5th place, we had James Hollingshead. We're going sort of long, so I don't want to keep you guys too long. And I want to quickly get to just a couple of listener questions we've got. But what did you guys think about, quickly, James, just quick thoughts on how he looked?
I thought he looked really good at prejudging. In finals, he looked more like a little less. I thought he was, I don't know, he more looked a little more separated, like a little, I don't know, he had a little more pop, I think, at prejudging, I felt. Like, I don't know. But it was good look. And at the end, it's just the thing that's hard to, like, to me, like Antoine brought up great package. He obviously worked really hard for this, 2 shows with his posing routine. You can see he put on a lot of work. But just like a really, really competitive lineup. Everybody, is very competitive. So it's really tough for, I mean, it's tough for anyone, more last time to be last at these shows. But it's just it's a great show. Everybody came in shape. Nobody was it was really like, you can't point fingers at anyone who didn't really brought it. It just some people are better at this point or nailed it better.
Sure. I think I've seen James better. So that James was a good package, no doubt. But I think we've seen him better before, and I think one of the other things is as well is I don't think his physique maybe translates in the live stream as much compared to in person, because obviously the judges still like him, placing top 5 in both shows. And I said, by the stream, Antoine looked harder. Maybe I could have had him over James last week. I thought James did beat Antoine this time around. But yeah, I just think that he still can be better, and it's no discredit to James, and it's great that he's placing these places and he can still get, I think, a decent amount better on this package. So credit to him. And then with Antoine, I think Antoine maybe just missed it a little bit compared to Ohio, and Moshe Ban I think was improved, so that's why that switched around. Did either of you guys have a huge problem with Antoine in 7th and Mo in 6th, or no?
No, I don't think anybody missed. I think Antoine might have been slightly off. I mean, in comparison to Ohio, but I think everybody bought a pretty good package, man. I really like Antoine's physique. I don't know if it's just my personal preference, but for some reason, I think Antoine is shredded. I think he's full. I think he looks really good. I think he's really balanced now compared to before. But it's only 7 guys, and these are the best in the world. So it's like it's gonna be somebody's gonna be in 7th. I don't know.
The way I sort of said it is that all of these guys can win a pro show. So we know Antoine's won pro shows, and obviously if Moshe Band's beating him, James has won pro shows.
Normally it's supposed to be one of the prerequisites to be invited at the Arnold is to have won a pro show. I know they
sort of said that. I think they mean that they take that into consideration, because Horse MD did the Arnold too, but he hasn't won a pro show.
No, I agree.
He was the only one, but Nick Villa was invited. Martin should have been invited.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100% he should have been invited. Okay, I've got a couple questions. Do you think Samson jumped the gun parting ways with Milos? What do you think, Stan?
No, I think he did what he thought was right for him to do at this point in his career. Like you said, Milos was great at adding size on his physique, and he brought him from qualifying to the Olympia to top 3 in the world, and that was perfect for now. But now he needs some different type of help to nail that conditioning, which is the only thing that's required from him at this point. So I think that makes just sense for him to try something else after, they did a bunch of shows together. So you can't just keep on with and just having regrets later on, not trying something different if it keeps not working to the extent you want. I'm not saying it's not working, it's definitely improved, but like right now, from what the judges are asking from him and the general public consensus, it's just I think it makes sense for him to try a different route, and I think it paid off already this weekend. I don't know, he came through better. I think when you see like the Gilco videos again, it looks very similar somehow, but like on the stream, even just his mid control, his midsection control, all that stuff that was just added a lot, and obviously it showed also on the scorecard. It was closer, and also Hadi coming in, 24 hours before can also. I think he was a little flatter at prejudging, so it also helped to in that sense to making the gap less wide. But I think Samson adjusted really well.
I think it was similar to Romania condition, but with I think a bit more fullness. Like he wasn't as full as the Arnold, but he got it, Stan. But I think it was his best package of all time. In terms of jumping the gun with Milos, I mean, if he decides that he wants to try something different, if he's not agreeing with the stuff that Milos is advising him, if he's like, well, I'm not really following it anyway, it's like, well, you may as well, I can tell you're getting ready there, Stan.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say that. I mean, you can't actually see it on the camera, but if you have experience in that, you kind of know. When you see this, and then you see this, you kind of know what's going on. What are you gonna do?
I just don't on YouTube.
And just so people know as well, because I saw him go like that. It's Vegas. Weed's legal. It's all good. It's not.
It is.
Because it looked like it could have been something else. Like,
oh no.
No. Because I just wanted to make sure people in the comments like, wow, it stands like doing that on the show. Okay. Now we're getting down.
Just don't. Whatever you do, just don't do this. Once you do that, then it's like, whoa, what's going on? Oh man, no. As far as jumping the gun, I don't think anybody can say that besides Samson himself, because we don't know the conversations being had. We don't know if Samson's like, hey, Milos, I really think we should try something different. We don't know that. Now, if I also don't believe that switching coaches is necessarily going to make you look better. Sometimes you might take a step back, because this person doesn't know your body. So what I will say is that if Samson started feeling not so confident in his coach, then that might be the time to part ways, because once you start listening to your wife or other people, maybe at that point, some of the trust and belief is gone. So you might be better off just seeking help somewhere else. Once you can't fully commit to your coach, then maybe you should try something else.
And also, to finish, I don't want to cut you.
Yeah, so I think it's been 2 years, 2.5 years?
2.5, I think, yeah.
I don't think that's a very long time personally. And I think they've made so much progress that I guess if it was me, maybe I think I would have stayed, just because I went from a 5th place guy in Europe to a champion. So I probably would have had a lot of conversations. Hey, listen, I don't want to carb up this high, or I don't want to take this or take that. Let's try another way. And then if he wasn't on board, then maybe I might try to seek some other help.
So maybe that did happen.
So
exactly, yeah. It probably did happen.
The thing is, he also has like a safety net with his wife, because he knows she's been there the whole time with Milos and knows exactly what he's been doing with Milos, and she knows his body from prior too. So that's the big thing for him. He's got that thing he can rely, that he's got his wife he can rely on, and that's a big security for him.
And the thing is as well, they've done things in the past. It's just that I know, we all know how things are in relationships, and I've been in relationships where I've actually helped a partner with their meal plan or whatever because they've asked me. It's like that shit just doesn't work out, because then they do something different, and then I don't say anything, and I'm like, oh, it's not my problem. But then they start hiding things or whatever. But that's very different for Samson. But at least they'd be talking to each other, saying like, yeah, this is what works. Yeah, I think this works. And then if you have a coach from the outside saying, do this, and that flies in the face of what you think you've figured out and you've discussed and been able to talk to someone about, that's, living in your house, you might go, I thought this was the thing that worked for me, And now I don't know what's happening exactly, but that could be what's happening. But Milos, when, like you said, Baidi, he's taken him from 5th place in pro shows or so to Arnold Classic champion in 2.5 years. That is a meteoric rise. So Milos, regardless if you think, he doesn't bring Samson in condition, well, it's been the right thing to get him from 5th to first in the Arnold and top 3 in the world. So had you said this 2.5 years ago to Samson, would you take this if you work your ass off? He would have said 110%. 110%.
Yeah.
So,
Another side, what if this is the peak? What if this is as shredded as he gets? What if the next coach brings him in less shredded? You know, you just never know, but you can't live life
with
like
less
that.
size.
Exactly. You know, so there's no right answer here, man. You just that's life. You don't know anything in life. You just you trust your heart, I guess. You know, it sounds cliche. You trust your heart and hope for the best. That's what we all do. None of us knows, you know, we just make the best decision we think we're making it at the time, and everything else is gonna happen, you know. But I mean he's a lot better off than he was, you know, a few years ago.
But that's why
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like Milos, if you put yourself in Milos's shoes, you probably feel like, well, look how much I've helped your career, and you sent me a text message or whatever. And Samson's probably in the mindset of, I'm prepping, you know, my mind's everywhere. I feel horrendous, you know. And he put out things saying like, "No, I'm all good to do it. I feel fine." But man, you know, if he's pushing down to the leanest or close to the leanest he's ever been, your mind's not going to be 100% there, right? And that's, I think, why we see things come out from bodybuilders while they're at the end of the prep. You hear words said, you see videos put out, you know, give the dude some grace as well. Could he have handled things better? 110%. And I'm sure he'll look back in a month or two's time and go, you know, I could have handled this whole thing better, but my mind was.
Nobody even know exactly how he handled it, or
yeah, we don't know exactly.
Yeah, I guess so.
We don't know what happened between them, if they talk, how much they talked, if they still talk.
Right.
Nobody knows any of that. That's none of our business either. So if Milos is fine, Samson Singh is fine, I think that's, you know, they're just, you know, they're good. They just want to try something.
Did you watch the podcast today, Stan?
Which one?
No, he probably didn't.
The Menace podcast.
No, he didn't watch
which
it.
One? Menace? Oh no, I haven't watched it. No.
Oh, okay, yeah, we were talking about this earlier. So there was Milos,
the Gary Breaker. I don't know if
Sorry?
you saw that one. The Dorian started doing some podcasts. He did one with Tom Platz that was fucking gold, and one with Gary, a biologist, a biohacker. It's very interesting.
Haven't watched that one.
Okay. No, me either. But I was gonna say, I'm sure Stan will agree that when you're a couple of weeks out from a show, that's not the time where you want to make big life decisions in any way, whether it's relationships, whether it's coaching, whether it's anything, because you're not yourself, you know, your emotions and everything. Yeah, your mind is not in a good place. So he's a grown man. He'll do whatever he wants to do. But at the end of the day, I think if I was trying to make a decision with my coach, I think I would wait after I'm a little like after this show is over, I'm out of prep a couple of weeks, maybe, you know, and then be like, you know what? Oh, granted, he didn't put it out publicly, so maybe he wasn't trying to put it out publicly at all, you know. But I would kind of maybe keep it to myself and wait until I'm clear-headed. But maybe that's what he was trying to do, because he didn't comment on the coaching.
Yeah, Milos posted about it, and
Milos posted originally.
Maybe Samson wanted, you know, not say anything, do his thing with his wife, nobody knows anything, and then maybe after that come out and, you know, he didn't want to make any decision yet, you know. And maybe also what happened is that like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to put my name on you doing your own thing. You know, so there's all the things we don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Milos did say a decent amount in that podcast today, and he's not bad mouthing Samson or anything like that. He just said that you know, essentially he only found out about the hospital thing on the last Menace podcast. I think he found out just before that, and I think a ton of people were messaging him, be like, "What's going on?" And he didn't even know what was going on, and he's still under the impression he was prepping Samson. And then I think Samson texted him, and they haven't spoken since. So and he said hopefully after the Arnold UK we'll get the chance to speak, and he'll be able to ask him sort of, you know, I think a few questions and stuff. But yeah, it did come out. And Milos, I don't think Milos was trying to throw Samson under the bus at all. You can see he held back from saying a few things, but Dennis was saying, he's like, look, all the fans are asking, and it's because things have been put out there publicly, you know, like Samson putting a video out, then Milos saying they're done and stuff. And then, you know, the fans just all come in. So I know this is going to be covered by every bodybuilding podcast, what was put on the Menace podcast today. So that's why I've sort of gone to myself, is me putting out a video on this going to make Samson look bad in any way? Is it going to make Milos look bad? Because I know both the dudes, especially Samson, I've known him for a long time. And I figure me
It's already
putting a
out
video
there.
out. Yeah, it's out there already.
It's already out
But
there.
when as soon as you put a title and saying like Samson, Dauda, and Milos not speaking question mark or something, people can interpret that as me going, why would you make a video about this? Because I thought you were friends with Samson, because it makes him look bad. And I'm like, well, one, it's out there already. Two, I'm probably going to be a lot kinder than most channels out there. And I'm going to give his perspective, because some channels will go, this was shit by Samson because of this. And it's like, well, you're not giving the maybe this happened, maybe that happened, or whatever. So my morals on that, because someone actually mentioned that in one of the other videos I did on it. And I'm like, did you listen to the actual video and what I said and the things I said afterwards? It's like, I don't think you really did. I don't think you're understanding it. I'm like, I'm presenting what's already out there and then giving a small point of view, but also giving the other sides too. So it's like, you know, I've got the video I put out, we'll put out before that. So
I'm just trying to copy Stan's night routine. This night routine Stan got going on.
He's got your eye cream going on.
Intriguing. Yeah. What brand is that? Let me set my game up. Oh, sir. Okay, I see you, Stan. It survived. No, I think what. Huh?
It's just my eyes. They go I do a lot of mineral soaking, and the mineral they dry on my around my eyes, so I have my eyelids all dry with the dryness in Vegas and that. But
well,
yeah.
Interesting.
What Stan said initially is the best. This is none of our business, but it only became this way because of the videos. I think it would have been better off if this was just none of our business from the begin with. Because Milos only has to defend himself, because imagine if Xavier, like, hey, Baidi, one of your clients said their body is failing. I saw a video and I'm like, wait, what? Is that my fault? So then you have to defend yourself, or you look like a bad person now. So if none of it is out, then it's all private. And sometimes I think it should just be private. It's not our business until it's put out there. Then it's like, wait, what's going on? You know, so that's probably the best way this could have went.
Stan Huberman, Stan, you do all the 1%ers, man. you are doing all the 1%ers. I love it.
He's not playing around.
No. Eye cream, everything, man. All right, let's quick fire these last questions. So he's got
ready.
I have one more meal. But I'm good.
He claims it. He claims it's the Vegas dryness. It's what he's got prepared on the side there, makes his eyes dry.
Oh, no.
You know,
that's the eyelid, bro. Like, I swear, it's like just rub my fucking eyes and then it's all like dry.
Yeah, but eye drops for the other stuff.
All right. My eyes are fine. It brings a lot of blood out to the eye. Actually, really good for it.
Is it actually good for your eyes?
Yeah,
sure.
It can. Blood flow is always good.
I mean, I'm so lazy. I just buy it like pre-rolled. I buy pre-rolls and gummies. Gummies basically. So I don't even roll it. I just get it pre-rolled.
How much does it cost you guys for pre-rolls over there? Like, and how big are they? Like,
you have everything.
I get this delivered to my house by this company, and they like anywhere from $9 to $15 for a pre-roll.
Well, it depends if you want half grams. If there's like
you're right.
Like a liquid diamond, if there's keef.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They got different types. I'm pretty basic.
If you take like a moon rock, 50% THC.
yeah.
That's going to come up much more expensive.
Mm-hmm. It confuses me now, man. Like, they've got because I've got a script, so there's no point being like shy about it. So in Australia, obviously, it's illegal fully unless you've got a script. But they've got stuff on this website now because they have basically, you get your script through this company, then they've got essentially distributors in Australia. So they're like, go to this website, links up with ours, and then you can fill your prescription, and then it gets sent to you. But they've got these other things, and I'm like, what's this resin stuff, and what's this? Like, how is that such high THC? And it's like, some of this stuff's new to me, man. This is all new in Australia. I'm like, I don't know this.
No age.
All we know is butter and weed. That's it. That's all we know. I've watched some of those cooking shows on Netflix where it's where they incorporate weed into their cooking. But then one of the shows, they were just putting in like the straight THC drops. I'm like, anyone can put that into any food and it's going to do the same thing and you won't taste it. Like, that's boring. You use butter or something. But it is quite funny, man, because they had people on there, even like some semi-celebrities, and they were eating some of this stuff, and you can progressively start to see it kick in, and you can see some of them just sort of go like, I'm like, man, I'd hate to be in that situation. You start tripping, and you know you're on TV, and you're like, okay, does everyone know?
That's
Can
why
everyone see it?
Like Ian does that like every other time. Like he's on Shroom on bro chat. He's like drunk on bro chat.
But he doesn't have to be the host, man. Like he can
No,
sort
true.
of sit back when he wants and then just argue, and it's like that's the easy thing. But let's cover up. Let's do quick fire on these questions just so we sort of appease the fans. Do you guys do Nordic hamstring curls? Find it helps in low volume. Do you guys know what Nordic hamstring curls are?
The glute hammer raises?
Sort of like that, yeah. A lot of people do them reverse on the like the lat pull down and stuff.
I put it in my story. Oh yeah, that's what I did. It's on my story.
Oh really? Right now?
Yeah, right now.
That's unbelievable.
Wait, I don't get it. Like facing the other way, like how?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
You block your heels under the lat pull down pad, and you let your body like collapse, but you hold yourself back with your hamstrings.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Damn.
I'll share it. And you're just I just saw you face plant, Stan.
But yeah, you can. It is.
That sounds dangerous, man.
It's really good though.
But yeah, man, this is such a killer of an exercise. I actually used to do it reverse on the hamstring curl. And because obviously when you go like below that, it starts to kill. And I went like, I used to tuck my head down and then my head would go fully under the seat.
Oh.
That shit's hard, but I could get like 10, I could get like 10 reps. But honestly, I think that's like the best hamstring exercise I've ever done. Like it's the only time that I've really noticed my hamstrings have grown by doing them like, maybe like 4 out of 6 weeks or something consistently for a year. Yeah, Baidi, get it. Shit hurts.
That's kind of heavy, man. That's kind of how much you weigh, Stan?
265.
Yeah, that's heavy, Stan. That's heavy. I don't know.
How much are you, Baidi?
295.
Yeah, okay, that's gonna be harder.
Elastic bands around your torso, and to help you.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, a lot of people, they have a stick in front of them or a bar, and you just help yourself. With the kind of your weights. But there's actually a machine that does that too. It's really, really good.
There is. If I see the machine, I'll definitely do it. But this makes me nervous a little bit,
No, if you do it, chuck your head under of a reverse of a thing. Put your head right, like tuck it in, and like I just hold it back just near my knees, sort of just hold there.
Yeah.
But if you do it and you think, oh, I'm gonna fuck up, and you put your body out and you put your hands out like how Stan was doing it, then it gets dramatically harder. Like then you go forward hard. So you got to have your hands there. But I used to just spot myself with my hands off the ground and let my body go out. But then I saw someone doing it with their body tucked in. I'm like, oh, that lessens the resistance because your body's tucked in like that and you're just curling down instead of having your body like this where you're like that much more weight if your head's up here doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's near impossible the way Stan does it to do proper reps, like 10, 12. All right, next question. Do you think? No, we got that one. Was John the most complete in the Arnold UK? I think that he was the most. Maybe he and Hardy are the most balanced, but I don't know about. Do you think most complete, Stan?
No, I was going to say Hardy was the most complete, obviously.
Yeah, I agree.
But
you agree?
Very bodybuilder. I think that's there's no doubt about it. He's missing no body part. Conditioning is great. Got a lot of size. He's pretty, small waist.
I can see the argument of John being more complete as far as he's more pleasing to the eye. But it's hard to say because you can't say Hardy's missing anything. Maybe yeah, I know. Even his arms came up. I feel like his arms are good now too. Yeah. I can see the argument though that John could be. Huh?
Hardy is a little bit of his triceps could be a little bigger, but.
Yeah, some of his. I think some of Hardy's insertions maybe isn't as clean as John, but
concept with more size.
Yeah,
and more hardness.
If John was like maybe a little bit more muscular and hard, I think he would appear more balanced than Hardy, but. Hardy just peaks so perfectly that he looks crazy.
when you look at body parts, Johnny is pretty damn complete. Like the dude has calves. He's got his hamstrings will come up a lot from the side. He's got his
forearms,
back double biceps, great. He's got arms. He's got delts. Like he's really missing nothing. Like there's nothing where you go, oh, John's really lacking there. Like maybe you could say adductors or something, but he's flexing his glutes and everything up hard there too. So it obviously makes him retract a bit. But yeah, really he's missing nothing. He's looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You know what? I think I might pick John as the most balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strictly balanced and not talking about a balance of like condition and fullness, just body part balance.
Symmetry.
Yeah, I agree. This sort of touches on what we said before, just quickly. Is it really any of the public's business what goes on between coach and athlete? Not unless it's made public, then it creates a public stir and then everyone's talking about it. So you're sort of stupid then as a channel not to talk about it, or as a news website or whatever. And Samson's top 3 in the world. So, I mean, it's going to be news. Yeah. It's going to be talked about.
Right.
Yeah. I remember Xavier, you were on my podcast before and you brought up Justin had a picture of his tricep and it looked kind of funky. And I was like, oh, I don't think we should talk about that kind of stuff. But then he was like, hey, it's a physique contest. That's part of your physique. So then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? What else would we talk about? This is what this is what podcasts are for. We talk about everything going on. And once you bring something up, then it's part of it's part of having a podcast. Then we kind of we don't have to talk about it, but we are, because that's what everybody's talking about. So if you're covering something, you're having a podcast, once it's there, we have to talk about it. It is what it is. Even if it gets annoying or something, I mean, people want to hear it, people want to hear it.
But at the end of the day, it's just people speculating, but that's the interest of the podcast, to see what people think and how they resonate and all that, the reasoning behind. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a business, but he's top 3 of the world, so it's going to come with territory, and it's a good thing.
Yeah. When you're a channel, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like I made some videos. I think I was one of the early ones to make a video about Hardy's delts, because he released one video where it was obviously when he's prepping, he obviously probably just shot them and they looked very, very noticeable. So I asked the question, if it's like this on stage, is it going to hurt him? And the judges even came out and said afterwards, Hardy's delts, that hurt him the last couple of years, and we've told him about that. I'm like, if the judges are saying it, but then people say you shouldn't mention it, or everyone has to shoot something somewhere. I get that. So if someone has a bit of a lump at the top of their glutes, they've got a bit of a lump in the delts, they've got a bit of a lump here and there. It's not that noticeable. So I don't even mention it, But then I had someone I had 2 people message me after the pre-judging of the Arnold UK and said, like, sort of like, how didn't you make more of a deal? And why is no one mentioning about Hardy's delts now? Like they seem to be worse again. And I'm like, well, so if I mention it, then I'm bad. And then if I don't mention it, then they're like, why are you protecting him? Why are you protecting his ass? So it's like, well, if it's bad enough, then I'll mention it. If it's not, then I'd probably just let it slide. Or if people are commenting it, then and I'm on a live, I'll address it and say, well, I don't think it's that bad. Or I think it could affect the placing, because it does affect placings. So for us to be expected just never to talk about it when it could affect who wins a contest, I think that's like simple, like
I did notice that at the UK. I sent it to the group chat and I was like, if you think it's more noticeable than it's been in the last couple of years. And then Stu was like, we're not doing this again. and I was like, I'm like, but Stu, it's part of his physique. It is part of his physique. I don't think it was that bad, but it is part of his physique. So if it's visible, then it might be taken. I knew he was going to win regardless, but I'm like, it is visible. And once it's visible, then it's kind of, the judges are going to see it as well, I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the individual video of Hardy as well. These videos by Gilco were taken from the lower angle as well, which is where the judges see the contest from. So I'm like, well, is it more obvious to the judges than what we're seeing when we're watching it from a normal view that we see it from? Because it looked more obvious in Gilco's videos.
But what's annoying is I think it's just the people who don't know what you're talking about, and they hear like commenting like Sintos, like,
oh
you
yeah,
really think You know, he's got massive everything. You think he needs to put Sinto somewhere to come? Like, he knows how to build muscle. It's not Sinto.
No.
Actually took shots. You probably have some bad shots here and there, and you would know that it happens. You know, it's just part of what we do.
Exactly. And we saw those text messages leaked, man. We saw those text messages leaked between Harney and Hardy that time. And I'm like, he's telling him to stay. He's like, stay away from your delts. Like we've talked about this before. So Harney's obviously like, man, don't hit your delts. And then he's just like, okay.
Yeah, but
hey,
you don't do your delts, then they tell you don't do your glutes because you need to get distraction.
Exactly.
Then you're doing your quads, and you know the quads go all messed up, and then you can't even see on the quad. Then you go where? You go on your lat, and then at some point, same thing, you can start seeing weird stuff. Like people are speculating about like what's going on with Derek. You got to put it somewhere. You know,
you just got to rotate and be as smart as possible and make it as
and it's possible. Yeah,
Stan is right. I had a client, his delts were really suspicious. I'm like, bro, do not shoot your delts. If you shoot your delts again, I'm not working with you. Stop it. And then he sends me like a picture of his leg swollen, his quad. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, hey, I tried my quad, it's swollen. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, dude. And he keeps doing it. I'm like, maybe try a different brand. Same thing. So it's like, so some people get lumped up more than others. I don't fucking know. But
also
he keeps.
Yeah, you gotta watch what, like if he's trying something different, you want to make sure he's got his different oil or different solvents, you know. So that can be that he's not responding well to.
Yeah, I've seen people. I've heard people like Dave Plumble say, "Don't hit your quad." I've heard people say, "Never shoot your glutes." And I've heard people say, "You shouldn't shoot your delts." I mean, they're the big three, aren't they? Like, and then you've got lats, rear delts, maybe chest. That's one, but I don't know if you guys do that.
Whoa,
but I mean, just straight into the heart. That's where it's strongest, man.
No. I like
that's a joke. That's a joke, obviously. Just disclaimer. Yeah, podcast. Yeah.
I did quads for years, and now I hear people don't do your quads. How do you do that? And I did it for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years until like as I get leaner and bigger, I feel a little comfortable. And I had a really bad shot on my quad before, and it kind of just turned me off to it. So I just do lats, shoulders for the most part. Lats, you know, but it does eventually. Sometimes you might overdo it, and then you're like, let me take a break from it. But for the most part, lats and shoulders. You could also mix it up. It doesn't have to be side delt. You could do rear delt. You know, you could move it around a little bit, but you kind of have to. You have to be like an artist. You have to look and be like, I probably shouldn't go back in that side delt. It sounds like Velcro every time I go in it.
You want to touch and make sure it's soft tissue. There's nothing hard lump.
Yeah. Check it out. Look at it too. Like I'll look at it. I'm like, I don't like how that's looking. Let me go somewhere else.
Find the spot then to take the shot.
Exactly. You know, shit. At this point, I've tried my traps before. I don't recommend that, but that's horrible. It feels horrible. You don't want to
get a few pine cones up here.
Yeah, it's all bad. I've tried calves. Horrible, horrendous feeling. It's all bad. So I don't know what advice I'm trying to give here, but just be careful.
It's not try everywhere. I actually went.
Don't do drugs. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Stay clean, fam. This is not a drug related one, but I got bitten by my dog on my hand. Right, I don't know. Probably can't see the scar anymore, but it was like right through here. So like it was deep. Like after he bit it. Yeah, because I didn't feed him the night before. So a lot of people feed their dog once a day. And I was like, well, I gave him a little bit of food, but he was eager. Like when I bought that dog food the next morning early, he was like jumping behind me. And I just went to grab like his collar and just pull him away because I had scissors in my hand, pulled him away. And I think I grabbed his skin instead of his collar. So it ripped him. And he's just an anxious dog, man. So he just latched onto me. Like it's like he just thought, and I think because he's hungry and he just latched on and just goes, and he's a golden retriever, man. His teeth are like that. So it was like through my hand. And that, as soon as he did it, I just grabbed it and just was like, and I'm like, I just don't even want to look at this because I had clients coming up that day, everything. And I just put my hand over the sink and just went like that. And it was just like, it just burst out of blood. Like it was heavy, man. It was heavy. I was like, fate. But I went to the hospital and they gave me like a tetanus shot, right? And she did it, and then she wiped down here on my tricep, like right down here, and she wiped that with the alcohol. I said, "Oh, do you want me to so you can put it in my shoulder?" And she goes, "No, here's fine." she pinned it in that head, my outer head of my tricep, and I was like near the bottom. And I'm like, this isn't going to feel good. Dude, I was in hospital for like a week, and that shit was red and swollen all around there for like a good 5 days straight. I'm like, why would she do that? And before I have a chance to be like, no, don't do that, I'm like, oh, she knows what she's doing. It's all good, you know?
Yeah.
So good.
Not
Be
good.
fine.
Oh, it's horrible, man.
Did you and your dog stay friends after that?
Oh yeah, we became bros again. It's like
Okay,
it's like he only cost me like, you know, a couple of grand just for missing clients all week, canceling them all. And then I had a thing with my clients where if I'm canceling within, you know, 48 hours or 24 hours or whatever, I give them like I do that session plus another one. So I did that for like a full day, you know, like 6 clients or whatever. All clients that week canceled, and I went back like halfway through the next week. So I added up like what I'm paying in gym rent plus what I lost. And I'm just like, man, I'm not a fan of you right now, but yeah. I yelled at him, man. When it first happened, I said, you know, when you just know something bad's happened and you're like, this ain't going to be like a quick fix. I'm not going to be training for a bit here. And I just held my hand down and I'm like, what you fucking did? Look what you fucking did. And then I just opened the door and he's like running away from me because he's scared. But I'm not someone who beats my dog, but I just put my foot, pushed him out of the house with my foot in his ass. But yeah. But
I probably would have showed him. I would have showed him what it felt like. I would have grabbed his paw and just bite his fucking paw.
You bite my face off, man.
I bite him. Show him who's boss, you know. Bite his paw.
All right. Quickly, okay, Baidi versus Yannick at the Anaheim show. Who will win? I hope Baidi.
Who's that? Who's Yannick?
Isn't it Yannick?
Yannick?
Oh, Janicki. Oh, Janicki.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's 100% doing the show, but I'm gonna win for sure. I'm gonna be.
I like the confidence,
sure.
Man. All right. People said does. Okay, so people said Arnold UK was the best Samson ever, and Hardy was not at his peak, and Hardy still handily beat Samson. Now that's technically not true, considering some judges had Samson winning. Does that prove that Hardy is simply in a different league to Samson? Essentially, is Hardy in a different league to Samson currently?
No, I think he's within reach. But right now, the last 2 shows, like Hardy really nailed it. He brought something special. So yeah, he's ahead, but he's not like out of his league.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like in a perfect world, nobody's unbeatable. But if you're going by how people have been, you know, what's already proven, because we just haven't seen Samson bring that kind of condition. So if you take away the ifs, then technically Derek and Hardy are kind of in a league of their own. I want to say Nick, but Samson beat Nick. I still think because of the conditioning that Nick, Derek, and Samson are kind of in a league of their own condition-wise. It doesn't mean that somebody like Samson has to be in that condition to beat them, though, because we saw it with Nick. He just has to be conditioned enough. So anybody can beat anybody on any given day. But I like to say that Derek, Hardy, and Nick are kind of in their own league just because we know for a fact they're already proven they can be big, shredded, full, round without sacrificing anything. So I like to say they're, you know.
But Derek is lacking on the harness compared to Hardy and Nick.
From the front, yeah. You're right. You know, so they all, I mean, they all have somewhere an angle that they can lose in. Like Nick, if you want to go by aesthetics and his waist, well, then he loses to Hardy and Derek in that. And then you can say from the front, you know, but Nick is more balanced and conditioned from front to back. So they're all giving something and losing something to each other. So I think they all can, they all can beat each other on any given day, you know.
Yeah, it depends which pose you're talking about too. You know, like back double. I don't know. I don't rank them, but like let's say Derek is 1. Yeah, so Derek is 1. Mm-hmm. Then Hardy, Nick, and Samson 4th. But front double, like maybe or front last spread, like Nick would be 4th, and then maybe Samson would be 1st, and Hardy 2nd, and Derek 3rd.
Yeah. Well, I guess because Hardy and Derek are the Mr. Olympias, they're already in a league of their own technically, but that doesn't mean they can't lose.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of get what the person is saying. I think they separated themselves enough that everybody else is kind of like, there's a lot of ifs. Well, if
Yeah.
there's no ifs with Hadi and Derek. Hadi and Derek, they're there and they're 1 and 2 until somebody else proves that they're no longer an if, basically.
True.
Yeah.
True.
The way I see it now, they're going to be the two favorites, Hardy and Derek. Everyone's saying, well, it's 50-50 who wins. I'm like, that is sort of discounting everyone else and Nick Walker's possibility and Samson's possibility, because there's always a possibility, you know, one of these guys misses it, or if they're both there, they could both miss it, you know, in terms of like just 5% off, just that few percent. Samson brings his all-time best conditioning, brings his all-time best package to the stage. Nick brings his all-time best, and then they're probably right there. You know what I mean? They're really, it's a 4-man battle. But yeah, I consider Hardy and Derek just a couple of percent above where Nick and Samson currently stand, but Nick can definitely prove that wrong by coming in freak factor, crazy, best, you know, not even necessarily his best condition ever, but Nick Walker conditioning with some more completeness and a little bit more added size and just more maturity in his physique. Then I think we're going to see a really good Nick Walker, because we haven't seen him on stage since the Arnold last year. So it's going to be over a year between seeing, it's 14 months, which is, it's a long time. So there's going to be a 14 months more maturity on his physique. It's like, that's going to look good.
I don't know Derek, Hadi, or Samson on a personal level. I will say that. I know Nick on a personal level for some time now. I don't believe that anybody wants it more than him. Since an amateur, I don't believe anybody. As an amateur, I believe Nick wanted the Olympia more than the people who were actually competing at the Olympia. That's how driven he is. And yeah, and he actually believed that even back then, you know, and the fact that he's actually this close is kind of crazy, because a lot of us didn't even think he was going to turn pro. Not me, but a lot of people didn't think he was even going to turn pro, let alone, oh, he'll never win it. And he kept proving everybody wrong. I don't believe there's anybody more motivated and willing to make whatever sacrifice needed to be Mr. Olympia that Nick is. I think mentally, I think he's on a different level. Just what I think. And I actually saw how he's looking right now, and it's not normal. This is a different level from the Nick we saw the last time he was on stage. It's not the same person. It's just not the same person. No.
That's scary, man. That's scary.
Yeah, very much.
Better what he brings. All right, last couple of questions. One guy actually said, Xavier, now I know who the F you are. I always wondered how the hell you got into this. Didn't know it was the Xavier. Didn't know that was so he knew of me from obviously competing, but then he knows of me now, and it's two different people. But I found that entertaining. And someone else said that looks nothing like Xavier, because it's a photo of me from when I competed. I put up for the questions. So yeah, man, I've aged. I've fucking aged.
All of
I
us.
think that's
if we take a picture from all of us from 5 years ago, ooh, it's a big difference. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, who cares?
All right, next one. Jack TSM is the last question. How does it cost? How much does it cost a good pro to do a show that's not in their local area? Is it sponsor subsidized? So I don't think he's talking about the prep. I think he's talking about just solely going to a show, doing the show. Just say you're going to do the New York Pro, which is no longer actually in New York, but just say you're going to do that stand from where you are now. How much does it cost you in hotel flights,
New York,
whatever?
Gonna be more. I'm not sure about New York, but like right now, I just booked my stuff for Vancouver. And it's a short. Normally, I would go longer, but Vancouver for me is on the same time zone, and it's only a 2.5 hour flight. So I'm going there on Wednesday, and I'm competing on Sunday. Yeah, and I'm spending, I think, like $500-$600 on Airbnb. And my flight, I also have a flight after for Chicago, because I'm planning on doing Chicago the week after. So total was like $700 to go Vegas, Vancouver, Chicago, Vegas. So let's say another like maybe $350, so $850. And then, of course, you're going to have extra suitcases, because you got all your food, you got all your whatever you're going to need. So you're going to pay extra for that. And then once you get to the airport, you need to either get a car or like usually like if it's somewhere where I don't necessarily need a car much, I'll just how do you call it? Uber to the and then I get my the stuff I need delivered to the house in my case. Where I'm at, I go to Instacart or stuff like that and just get all the food that I'm gonna need. I could just get delivered, so I don't need to drive there. But like Yeah, it's at least $1,000 easily, for a show between the lodging and the flights.
And then you got,
How much
do
is
you
that?
have entry fees?
No, but you have to pay the card for this year now is $275. But you pay that once, and then you can compete as much as you want. But it was, I think it was half that like a few years ago. So it goes up every year.
$1,000 is
day.
not bad.
No,
Every day
I mean,
goes up.
Wait, you
compared to
said 10,000 or 1,000?
1,000.
Wait,
About
but then you
1,000.
said the Airbnb by itself was like 600.
Yeah, and I said the flight was about. My flight is 700, but it's 2 flights actually. I'm going for the show to Chicago too, so half of it 750, 350.
So you're looking at about 900 or whatever. What it'd be returned?
Yeah, but then Uber, so around, right?
Yeah,
like, 1,000 is the minimum. That's why I'm
yeah,
saying.
and that's not even including food and stuff.
No, exactly. I'm just like
extras.
to get your house to the other place to the show, and
Tan.
and
Do you paying for tan at pro shows or?
It depends. If I have pro tan, usually they cover me. Martini Spray Tan, she also helped me a lot. It depends if I know them, if they know me. Sometimes they just the help. It depends also of the show. Certain shows where you enter, all the pros, especially for bodybuilding, they're covered, and then the other ones, everybody else pay. But sometimes the pros are included. Like I know California Pro, usually you get the free tan with Tan Master.
Yeah.
I don't know what the kids, but
so I mean, basically $1,000 on just the travel and hotel, right?
Yeah.
The food for somebody like Stan who eats a lot of food, is that like another 1,000? I don't know. How much would that be?
Well, normally I have trifecta, but if I'm going to spend a whole week, a week for me of food is about $250, $300.
That's
So
not
you
too
add
bad.
that, and then when you add the stuff, is going to vary from person to person. So the stuff that could be another, I don't know, who the fuck knows? It could be, I don't know, 1,000 maybe.
But that's for a show.
A week.
This is the last week. I don't think it's going to cost you that much.
Yeah. Last week, most people don't do anything. Anything.
Stuff. But like if you're taking GH, depending on what kind of GH you're taking, that's going to be the biggest cost, probably.
Yeah. But if you were staying at home for a local show, you'd be doing it anyway. So you'd be doing all that stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not too bad. If you just got to plan it, man. Like some people I know that have competed in the past, they're like, oh, I'm really struggling with money, and I want to do these extra shows. I'm like, dude, you've already competed in one show. You're not gonna win nationals. Why are you gonna be broke to do it?
Yeah.
Like completely broke. I'm like, and borrowing money to compete. I'm like, I'm not about it. I'm not about it.
No.
It's not worth it. Well, most of the spending comes in prep when you get restless and you start just buying shit from Amazon, and if you're not used to it, like I one prep, I bought a fucking Hellcat because I couldn't control. It was about. I remember at the time, everybody thought I was joking because it was so random. So my girl at the time was like, "You're not getting a Hellcat." I'm like, "Okay," and I came home with a fucking Hellcat, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I went to the gym, and they're like, "Bro, you bought a Hellcat?" I'm like, "Yeah." You can't explain it. And right after the prep, I'm like, "Why the fuck did I just buy a Hellcat? That's stupid." It was the dumbest thing ever. I mean, it was fun, but oh my god, the insurance, the payments, it was not a good decision.
Yeah, you're definitely in the state of mind. When you're getting ready for a show, you're in a different state of mind. And I think it's buying stuff is a reward. It's a rewarding thing that you don't get a lot of reward at that point.
No,
I think I've bought more stuff while prepping, but I just don't notice it. I'm trying to remember like the computers I've got now. Like I need to sort of upgrade soon, but like my laptop at the time broke, and I'm like, I need to just go get a laptop because I was working at the time. I had like a sports betting advice business, pretty much. That was my main business, and then I was making good money betting because it's tax free in Australia. You win money gambling, you keep 100% of it. So things were going well, and so I went to get a new laptop. I went up there and I came home with like 2 laptops, a hard drive, like these other little accessories. I'm like, shit, I thought I was spending like $2,000 today. I spent 6 and it's like, whoa, I didn't mean to do that.
Hey man, if it's on prep, if I need something, I just buy it. I don't think about it. I'm like, oh, I need I'll make something.
It's more efficient, man. It's more efficient. It's stupid thinking about it too much, unless you don't have the money.
Yeah. Yeah, but the issue is that sometimes it's overkill. Oh, I think my elbow sleeves are a little tight. Fuck it, I'll buy the most expensive elbow wraps. You know, just things like that. And
Yeah.
I'll keep doing it. Honestly, I'll go as far as, you know what? This Anavar is good, but I think I want to get a better Anavar. Let me try to find some crazy
Pharmaceutical.
pharmacy. Yeah, some crazy farm connect over here in West Hollywood. Like, you don't need that. You'll be fine. I start just creating bullshit in my head.
Yeah. No, I think that I'm someone who thinks about my purchases too much. So when I'm in prep, I might just buy it, but that's how a normal person should act. You know what I mean? Like I don't buy.
I'm not actually about stuff 10 times, and I'd rather do that like that.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. It's insane. But people buy cars. People buy houses on prep. People the people go that far just because.
Nick moved to Vegas. Remember, he was on prep for the Olympia. He moved to Vegas, bought a house,
He bought a house. Yeah. I think maybe Aaron's bought a house in prep too. Maybe like who was just on the podcast earlier. Like he even put up a post once. He said, "Does anyone else become like an interior designer while they're in prep?" And then he's posting up photos of like redecorating the house and shit.
Yeah, you have different tastes when you're on prep. It's so funny. I don't know what's the mechanism.
You're right.
It's different,
bro. You know how far that goes? I even dress different. I dress like I started wearing, it's crazy. I started wearing like old school pants and like old school crop tops. I'm like, why am I dressing like that on prep? I fucking, I dyed my hair a little blonde hair. I'm like, wow, that's weird. Why am I doing this shit?
How bad prep start?
Everything's so routine. You're trying to spice things up in a way,
You're right. You're right. I started buying jewelry. I was like, I want to get my nose pierced. I didn't do that, but I almost did. I'm like, I'm gonna get my nose pierced. Fuck it.
That's what they say about crazy girls, man. Crazy girls apparently have their nose pierced. I had a girl tell me that, and I started noticing some girls who have their nose pierced. I'm like, I know her. She's pretty crazy. I've heard some stories. I'm like, see, you were going crazy in prep. You wanted
to. You want to feel something so bad that you just start doing stuff. Yeah. It's insane, man. It's my whole wardrobe changes. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe. And then now I'm looking at my closet. I'm like, what the fuck? I have all these I cut up the neck and I make like an old school rag top. I'm like, all my shirts are cut up now. I fucked up all my shirts, so I don't have anything to wear.
I actually started doing that when I lived in Perth, and it was Perth summer, so it's pretty warm over there, like sort of more dry heat, like Vegas is. So I used to, when I prepped, I had just the best routine because the business I had at the time, it was like, I can do it from my laptop. So I'd go down to a cafe that had like water views. You're looking over the whole like Indian Ocean, real cool. And where you do coast walks along there, it's like a drop off, like some rocks, and then there's some like little beaches sort of stagnated across the coast. So I'm like, I'd take my shirt off, walk along there, get tanned, go into the cafe there, working. It was just, dude, the best lifestyle. But I would feel like I'm so healthy during prep. I'm like, I'm getting tan, I'm getting vitamin D. I was just like so happy with myself. And then you go off season, you're like, the shirt's back on, you're sweating more walking that coast. You feel like just a slob compared to when you're prepping.
Listen, prep, man, you're definitely not you when you prep. So you have to really be careful some of the choices you make because it could affect you long term. Just take it easy. Don't make any brash decisions. I see that with clients too. I'm gonna break up with my girl. I'm gonna break up with my boyfriend. I'm like, no, you're not. You're gonna stay put. You're gonna calm the hell down, and you're gonna relax. And then after the prep, they're all in love again. I'm like, you see, just relax. It's not that
bad. Anyway, boys, we should wrap this up. Sorry, Stan. What did you say?
Still have the Hellcat?
You still have the Hellcat?
Oh no. I sold it, but I got a Daytona now. But last prep, nice. I kind of got that prep vibe again. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put a Hellcat engine in my Daytona, and luckily I didn't do it. luckily I didn't do it. So I think at this point, I think I'm getting the hang of it. But I kind of every time I get back in prep, I kind of want to get like a really fast car again. I'm not gonna do it though. Now if I get the overall at the USA, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it.
Oh, dude, we're already bodybuilding, so we're already taking risks. So may as well just get a really fast car and just
fuck it.
Oh, I love it, man. Anyway, thank you guys for doing this podcast. I realized how long we went, but I think it was a good one.
I think so. Yeah.
Aaron missed over half the
Hey.
podcast in the end. I thought, we'll do another 20 minutes. I think we did like another hour and a half. But it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was like two different podcasts. It was Aaron and Stan.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Which side
Boy,
did you prefer?
yeah, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the Nigerian white man, or do you prefer the the Australian?
Well, me and Stan know each other already, though.
Yeah.
You know, so
What?
it's not fair.
Related or
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe close.
Exactly. Anyway, boys,
All right,
thank you so much for doing this. For myself, Xavier Wills, Baidi, Farl, and Stanimal stands Longeaux. For all of us here at Bodybuilding University, we are out. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Bodybuilding University. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, and also subscribe and click the notification bell button. And that's particularly important because this is on a new channel compared to the original desktop bodybuilding channel. Now, both channels will still be running. The original channel will have more bodybuilding news, and this one will have the podcast and interviews. So make sure you subscribe. And if you're not subscribed to the original desktop bodybuilding channel, head over there and subscribe to that as well. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. For all the guys at Bodybuilding University and myself, Xavier Wills, we are out.